welcome to the Five Star Joshi Show here on the Fight Game Media Network. I am your host, as always, Scott Edwards, and today we are reviewing Stardom Dream Queendom 2023, one of Stardom's big signature shows of the year. I'd argue number two behind All-Star Grand Queendom, which we know will be returning this time around in April. Thank you, everyone who is joining me right now and will be joining later. This will also be available on the podcast feed wherever you get your podcast. So if you can't stick around and watch the video, make sure to go and watch that. That is at Fight Game Media Network on Spotify, Apple. You can also look up 5-Star Joshi Show. It'll pop up for that as well. If you're in and watching the video, feel free to leave some comments, leave your thoughts on the show as we go throughout the show. I'll be having guests on to talk about their feelings regarding the show. Of course, if you've been watching or if you watch the show, you know, of course, that Maika is the new World of Stardom champion, but there's so much more to get into. We will be talking about the new Wonder of Stardom champion. We'll be talking about Julia versus Megan Bayne, Tam returning and having her first comments since her injury. And we'll also be talking anything else. Oh, I know there's kind of this WWE Stardom rumor. We'll be touching on that as well. So make sure to share this with your friends, share this with everyone listening. Leave a thumbs up if you're over on YouTube. Do all the good things to help out the channel, to help out me. I would greatly appreciate it. Let's see who's in the chat already. We got Brad here. Here we go. What a show. And we got waiting for a very special guest. I'm having a number of guests on. I'm very excited. Anyone that wants to share their thoughts, by the way, just let me know. Hello, Bobby. Welcome to the show. Yes, Peps will be on the show later on to talk about the big Maika championship win. And yes, if you didn't watch the show, both the white belt and red belt title matches are over live on YouTube due to the pay-per-view cutting off. So if you wanted to get into Stardom or if you wanted to witness the two big matches from this year's signature event, you can for free right now. So without further ado, why don't we get into it? Let's talk about it. Stardom Dream Queendom 2023. This was a big time show hailing from Ryogoku Sumo Hall. 3,063 people in attendance, a great number after what was a rocky couple of months, of course, for Stardom and their banged up roster with the ever wavering numbers. So again, if you're joining me here, thank you so much. Let's get into the show. I'll be having guests join periodically. I have some people planned for later on in the show. I'm going to try to spread it out. So instead of me going through the review and then having the guest on, I will sporadically have them on as we go along here. But let's get to the very first match. We're not going to wait around here. It was Miyu Amasaki, Azusa Inaba, and Yuzuki going head-to-head with the rookie trio of Sayaka Kurara, Rana Yagami, and Hanako. And this match, this is how I want Stardom to, this is how I want these shows to start. Instant energy, instant excitement from the rookies, from the young class of Stardom, right? Every single wrestler here has debuted in the last year and a half. Of course, Amasaki being the vet of the crew. But this brought the energy to the show early on. I feel like if you've been watching the past couple Stardom pay-per-views, the prelim matches almost always feel a little underwhelming or missing excitement. And don't get me wrong, a crowd that was into this show, that also helped. But there's something about a lively opener that works so well. We saw it 2 years ago at Stardom Dream Queendom 1 when Hanan defeated Ruaka for the future Stardom Championship. The match wasn't long, the match wasn't complicated, but it got the job done. It's exactly what you want these openers to be, in my opinion. Um, it's the type of thing that personally I want to see moving forward, especially with what is such an exciting young rookie class, right? I think everyone is singing the praises of Yuzuki for good reason. Everyone's singing the praises of Yagami for good reason. And after this match, I'm singing the praises of Sayaka as well. She was hitting a springboard arm drag, a spear. They have found something special in their three latest rookies that we've seen debut over the past month or so. And I think they know that. That's why the Rookie of the Year tournament is back and bringing us into next year on the very first show. It will be Yuzuki versus Rani Yagami, which I think is a big, exciting matchup. And then it'll be Hanako versus Sayaka Karara. It's, to me, this is what you're looking for. And if you're looking for who showed out in this match, for me, I thought it was Sayaka. Of all the people and all the excitement, um, with these three rookies, I thought she had the best showing despite getting pinned. Uh, but overall, I think this is what we're looking for in these rookies. This is what we're looking for moving forward. You want to see them grow together. Azusa Naba is obviously not part of the Stardom roster, but Azusa Naba to me is someone who's very talented and very much a person I want in the fold moving forward. Same goes for Tomoka Inaba. Now, will I get Tomoka Inaba back in Stardom? I've been asking. We'll see. But I absolutely am loving what these rookies are bringing out. It was Yuzuki that got her first career win by pinning Sayaka Karara with a version of it was like a flash pin essentially. It's her own that we've seen her do on Momo in her debut match, which was for a great near fall. So it's something to look out for. Let's go through the comments and I'll bring on my first guest. We'll do a nice little 10-minute go over what we're feeling about Stardom and how we felt about this show, of course. Brad, this match was so much fun. Stardom is in great hands going forward. Yuzuki getting the pin with the awesome roll up. She does pop to me. I've been waiting for that one since I first saw her do it. She is great. Her match with May Sarah on the year-end climax show, while it wasn't this big long match, I thought they did such a great job. It's the type of match that if you're interested in seeing these rookies, you go out of your way to check out. Sayaka was better in this match. I think she was. Like, I thought she had such a great showing. That's not a shot at anyone. But she took the advantage of being the last one tagged in on her side of things. We had Yagami and Azusa face off at the beginning, which was very exciting. But it was, of course, Sayaka that really took the bull by the horns and ran with it. Very enjoyable rookie showcase. Who is your favorite? Mine is between Rana and Yuzuki. It's a good question. I've already been on record of saying they're both the future of pro wrestling. I would go with Yuzuki. I just think she checks all the boxes already in many ways for someone that's wrestled a month. But I love what all three of the latest rookies have shown. Yuzuki have all potential in Stardom, absolutely. And then Sayaka stood out more tonight than her last match. She looked very good there. She popped off a few times. Absolutely agree. But of course, with the first match of the show, we bring on our first guest of the show. Welcome.
Hey, Mr. Edwards. Nice to meet you. Nice to be here.
Hey, I'm happy to have you on. Of course, host of Red Belt Radio. Yep. Over on YouTube, if anyone wants to listen to the great clips talking and breaking down Stardom, that's where you want to go. So how are you today?
I'm doing good, man. I don't know about you. I'm running off of about 2.5 hours of sleep. So expect my brain to collapse rapidly, but I took some notes, so hopefully that'll help out.
Yeah, that's why I try to get guests on throughout the show, mostly so I don't have to talk for too long, because I will be fading back and forth. I don't know how many hours I've slept for, but Overall thoughts on the show? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle.
Yeah, the one thing I wanted to get out of this show is some level of excitement, some level of optimism for next year. If Stardom could do that with everything we've had to, see happen and see transpire, I think that would make it a success for me. And they definitely did that. So my thoughts are there were a lot of exclamation points on this show. There were a lot of finishes that had this really emphatic, almost musical crescendo to them. And then there were some question marks as well. Some of the question marks were good. And then in the case of people like Mina Shirakawa, where I don't know exactly where they are going with her, the question marks are a little less good.
Yeah. Mina. There's a lot of directions to go there from your comments. I think Mina will start with. And I'll get to it when I get to that match, of course. But there is definitely a worry, and a rightful worry, I think, amongst fans of where she's going. Obviously, her year started off so hot, right? Last year, Stardom Dream Queendom, she brings in Mariah May and Zaya Brookside to form Club Venus, and she'd go on to win the Wonder of Stardom Championship. Of course, we know how that would go. She'd have the great defense against Natsupoi before losing it to Tam. And while she got the tag titles alongside Mariah May, it's been all downhill since, and it's been a lot of nothing. And if it's not nothing, it's a match against Shuri, which she lost, and now here. So I think that's fair. But what was your favorite match of the show? And yes, you can only pick one.
I can only pick one. Okay. No pressure there. Well, it's a little short notice because as you mentioned, I saw the main event pretty recently just on YouTube. In terms of emotional impact, I would say the main event. In terms of really getting me hyped for specifically the New Blood calendar and catalog next year, I actually really like the opening match as well. I will put one caveat.
Okay.
The white belt match to me it's almost like watching a puzzle. I'm still trying to decode and decipher what I saw with that, because with Mirai, there was something to her performance here. It was almost like she was somehow defeated before the match really got going.
Yeah.
And there were things that they went back to that was very similar to their 30-minute draw. I feel like I want to go back and see the GP match again to really try and find the subtle sort of through lines. But I can't wrap my head around everything that happened with that white belt title change.
Yeah, it's a continuous trait between these three. I remember when I saw their 5-star match, they looked like they were keeping a lot towards the end. And I was like, okay, I get it. You're probably having a title match. You want to hold everything in. And then they have a draw. And I'm like, okay, maybe they were just doing that again. And then they had this match. I was like, all right, maybe these two just shouldn't wrestle in big singles matches anymore against one another. I think maybe separated, because with that match, there's like a tale of two halves once again, I think, between them, where the first half, especially the near 20-second count out, just absolutely took me out of it. I don't know if it took anyone else out of it, but that is what that match did. And they got back there towards the end, but it's almost a tale of Mirai's year in many ways. It's been a rough year despite winning the Cinderella, winning the goddess tags, winning the Wonder Belt. It was not as good a year as it should have been for someone that I firmly believe in. I'll get to that, my full thoughts on the title change and whatnot later, but I think you're absolutely right. And in terms of 2024, this will be kind of the big talking point for every guest moving throughout this show. What are you most excited about? Is it just Maika on top for the first time and to see where that can go? Is it now the build to All-Star Grand Queendom 2024? Is it these weird WWE Stardom rumors that have now popped up thanks to Dave Meltzer in the Observer today? You don't have to pick that one. Or is it just something that maybe I'm not naming?
So the main event itself, two of the things that really stand out to me. First of all, the phenomenal build to this main event, which we have to assume was not originally intended to close out the year. They did such a great job of taking the momentum that was sort of naturally forced upon them and building what's going to be an insanely great rivalry. But what struck me after the match ended is the now apparent faction intrigue that we have, with Julia actually siding and showing empathy and sympathy for Suzu, taking her into her arms, walking out with her. And there's clearly more to this. There's an intrigue, which I love that they added to get us wondering about what might happen next year. So I think that faction intrigue, even though it's just being hinted at right now, is something that I really, really appreciated. And then I got something that you might like. We talked about Mina's match just briefly. There weren't a lot of stakes in that match, I felt. But one thing that I feel it translated to me is that at some point in 2024, I think we're going to have an all-time great high-speed match between Mei Seira and Azumi. I think that's just destined to happen, and I can't wait for that.
Yeah, I think they're slowly building to that one. Azumi has said she wants Mei Seira to add a few more defenses to her reign before they do that match, and I think that very well could be set for Buntai by the time we know it. Maybe that's the big match that they plan for. You want that at Grand Queendom. I think that has a lot of potential. There's so much uncertainty still with Stardom, especially, the news today doesn't help in any way, shape, or form. But what I do know is that there's excitement. No matter what, there is excitement. And that's what they desperately needed. And whether it is with Maika on top or someone now trying to build themselves up to take the title from the new champions, that's what we're looking out for. And I can't stress this enough. Stardom having a world champion that is now around again, that is the biggest lift that any company can have. You need your world champion. This isn't a shot at Tam. Tam got hurt. Is what it is, right? They needed a world champion. They have a world champion now, and I'm very excited to see what comes from it. But before I let you go, because I do have to get to the next match and stuff. Actually, you know what? You can review this real quick with me. Well, you know what? We'll talk about Tam. We'll talk about Tam real quick. So Tam did show up. She was back to tell us that she's not going anywhere. She will not be retiring, even though she said that in a written interview a few weeks ago. But it's fine. I'll act like she didn't say that. So she is back, and she is going to be at her hometown show, it sounds like, and her aim for her in-ring return will be cherry blossom season, which is late March, early April. So still a few months out from Tam making her grand return to Stardom. But what were your feelings just seeing her back in a ring, and multiple times on the show, by the way? They kept showing her, and I was like, all right, I don't know what she has to do with some of this, but do what you got to do, I guess.
Well, just hearing her theme song kick in right after that Rookies match, that
Very
shocked
important.
me a little bit. I knew she was going to make an appearance, but that really set the show in motion even further. So it made you feel like there was going to be a special quality to this show. Now, I thought it was great that the crowd showed her so much support, and they also supported the rookie match. This crowd was really, really, really good, and they were on at the beginning, at the offset. With Tam specifically, It was kind of funny seeing her multiple times. She kind of was standing in the background like a mafioso crime boss, and Sauriano's her hired hit woman taking out her enemy Mirai. So um, it felt kind of like a Cosmic Angels night, which sounds ridiculous. You had Saki returning, you had Tam and Natsupoi at least being there in spirit, and then
Yep.
the ghost of Tam Nakano just haunting everyone throughout.
Yeah, that's funny you bring that up. Um, of course, if you know Dylan from Stardom Quest, I talked to him after the show. He's like, all the Cosmic Angels are hurt, and they still have one of the top belts at the end of the year. That's man. And I was like, yeah, that did happen. But it is nice to, of course, see Tam back in the ring in some form, right? And in action rather than just seeing pictures of her and interviews that we have to wait for people to, of course, translate. Like seeing her is always a good thing because it means we're closer to the return, and we got to see Natsupoi later tonight as well, which I think myself included was very happy to see. Um, there's a lot of intrigue to what is next. And I think there is a big question mark surrounding what's next for Tam when she returns. You would probably assume a World of Stardom title match for the belt that she never lost, presumably against Maika, but who knows by then? That's very far in the future. We don't know how long Maika's going to hold the title. See Mina, for example. Sorry, it was too easy.
No, it's a really good comparison, actually. I've been thinking about Mina's organic sort of ascension, and it feels very, very sort of reminiscent of what has happened with Maika. Can I ask you a quick question in
Yeah,
terms of
absolutely.
this topic? So Maika, after she won, she announced, as begun the Empress era has, she called out a number of people. One of them was Tam Nakano. She called out Julia as well. She called out Utami and Saya. And
Yeah.
I don't think she's going to make it through all of those people personally. But is there one name out of those four that has you most most interested or most curious?
That's a great question. There's multiple ways to look at this because Micah's history, especially with Aphrodite, is so deep, right? Her trying to overcome those two has always been such a great story to tell. And I think part of her journey here will be having to overcome them because these are two people she has challenged for the Wonder and World over the past couple of years. She's come up short against, but the same can go for Julia, right? Beating Julia again is no easy feat for her. We saw it in the 5-star, right? That was a very emotional match to main event Korakuen Hall. But for me, when it comes to Maika, I always look at Saya Kamatani. Saya Kamatani is someone I think that is her top rival. Now Suzu's, giving her a run for her money these days, but I've always looked at those two as like the golden rivalry of the golden generation. And we know that Saya Kamatani was supposed to be in a certain spot. We've heard the rumors, right? That match intrigues me the most. I think that is the true challenge for Maika to get through because those two have traded wins many times, but in the biggest spots, Cinderella finals a few years ago, Wonder Stardom title. It's always been Saya Kamatani as the one that's come out on top, right? We've seen more often than not, Maika has beaten Utami multiple times, specifically in the 5-star Grand Prix, including this year. Beating Saya in the biggest match possible, that to me is the biggest match for her. Julia, Julia is interesting because I think we all kind of are getting the sense that this could be it for her soon. So I would like Maika to get that match beforehand if Julia were to leave because she deserves that win. She deserves getting that big win over someone like her. And Tam, she should beat Tam. There's no doubt about it. Like if Tam is challenging for this belt, I do not want Tam winning the belt back. We've gone through the odd reign that was Tam at the top. I don't need to go back to that. I'm giving Maika as many big wins as possible, but I'm not having her beat all four of them. I think having either Utami or Saya be the one to stop her, if she gets through all of them, of course, is maybe the most interesting story to me because it's something you can build on. It's funny, for years now, not years, but maybe a year or two. I always thought Maika beating Saya or Utami for one of these belts was the best road for her, and they made a natural road that was far more fitting at this stage, but that again plays to that story, and I can't wait to see it unfold now that she's world champion. I think that's really the fun of it all. What would be your answer?
Amongst those four, I can't not like a Saya Kamitani Maika match. They have a really great kind of physical chemistry. One thing that's great about Saya is, they call her tall Saya. She's got long limbs. She's got stature, but there's a lot of people she matches up with that they feel stronger than her. They might be shorter, but they're more powerful, and they can kind of powerhouse her. And that they're just really great together. So I would really like to see that. I think there is sort of a parallel between Maika's rivalry with Saya and now with the Grand Prix final that we saw, her rivalry with Suzu, and they end in a similar fashion. This acrobatic top rope backflipping finish that kind of commemorated both things, the Cinderella from a couple years back. So I think that's probably my pick, and for some reason it feels the freshest of those. So
it's funny, it does. Saya being gone helped her a lot, if that makes sense. Like, you never want a wrestler hurt, you never want a wrestler gone, but she feels so fresh again right after the long Wonder of Stardom title reign. Sometimes, it's a blessing in disguise, right? And her getting hurt and not winning the world title immediately, I think now creates this interesting way back to her getting to the top, because I think it's inevitable that she gets to the top, becomes one of the few to hold both titles at one point. But we have a few comments here, so before you go, how about we go through them, shall we?
Sure.
Because someone does have a question for you. I don't see the oh, I see. My bad. All right, let's go through these questions. It has been a weird year for Mirai, her winning the Cinderella while having to wait for her match until early July, having a meaningless tag title reign. That tag title reign couldn't have done worse things for her. It stalled momentum, if not made people kind of just be like, all right, this is enough. The new eras do not work together well. I've said that, and I'll say it again and again. They both of them work better in different tag teams. Her defenses range from good to really weak. Yeah. That Julia Suzu spot at the end where she was gonna need to make a decision at some point. Yes. We'll get to that with the walk-off. Great to see Tam back in Stardom. Here's the question from Light. With tensions between Maika and Julia, at least somewhat, since Julia wants to wrestle Maika at the Tokyo Hall show. Oh, they're teaming in that match, which is very interesting. As of right now, they're teaming. Things can change. Do you think there will be a new faction with Maika, and who will the members be? There's a lot of change coming in the factions very, very, very soon. I can't believe Suzu and Mesa are still kind of just sitting out there free. I know they've formed Crazy Star together, but there's a lot of change coming. I think there is definitely something brewing with Maika. We saw it with Shuri, right? When she won the world title, eventually she took over. Now, if Julia leaves, I don't think there's going to be necessarily a brand new faction, but in many ways, her either taking over DDM or renaming a faction, because I don't know what DDM necessarily is without Julia. So maybe, we can bring back Maika Goon. I know a lot of people wanted that for a long time, but that's just one of my main thoughts there. What do you think?
I'm going to do something that's probably super annoying, and I'll give you my fantasy booking vision for Maika's Empress era. So it looks like maybe they're not going with necessarily Maika still in DDM. I'm not entirely sure, but if she is, She's the Empress, and she's got the belt. We have Mai Sakurai, who's also got this sort of royalty feel to her, and we have Thekla, who's almost like the assassin they send out in the night to go snipe people. I want to start seeing Maika just showing up to other people's matches and just watching. She's wanting to be entertained by the other factions, and she's wanting to see who's the most interesting out there among them. And maybe she sends out, rookie wrestlers to go deliver messages to people on her behalf. I'd love for her to lean into something like that. And you already have a little bit of it with what Mai Sakurai is doing. So, but there's no telling what they're going to do. I just know it's going to be really intense to kind of combine the Mirai discussion with what was just talked about with Julia and Suzu. I have a sense that if there is a long-term plan anymore, we don't know. That what's happened tonight for Mirai and for Suzu is that they've endured a very profound loss. We saw them wearing it on their faces. Yep. And I think this is going to cultivate more sort of investment in them, and also allow them to really grow in a multitude of ways, and have a Maika type moment where they're going to rebound and have a very meaningful return to ascendancy or to the top. I think that's probably what's they've tried to do with this show.
I think you're absolutely right. I did not know that they changed it to Susan and Julia versus Maika and Megan. That makes more sense. That's a lot more exciting as well. But that was a great question, Light. Thank you for that. Lots of good questions throughout. So if anyone ever has questions, feel free to ask. Before I have you go, let's get through the rest of the comments here. At least we finally have an idea of a possible return. I love seeing Tam back. As you know, I'm a huge believer in Tamu. You follow the Tam road, my friend. It's what people do. People love your voice. That is a constant through the chat. People love your voice.
Thank you.
They Spadoosh and Velke, they tossed around comments because Velke said it earlier.
Well, Velke, just real quick, just to be very shameless, if you would like to hear more from me, this is my YouTube channel name. I think it's in focus right now. Or you can just search for Red Belt Radio on YouTube.
We love the plugs. So I was going to have you do plugs before you left. So, you already beat me to it. Shuri would be a great one for the Maika as well. I think for Maika as well, because her matches against Shuri were always given results, but now she's the champ. Absolutely. Maika versus Saya or Utami. Peps, if we go with the best case, then Maika defeats Utami, Saya, Julia, Tam, and Shuri in her run. Yeah. Realistically, I think she definitely does beat the two, but that got me. That got me really good. She's just all of them. That's possible. I mean, if they want to make her a top tier, unbelievable champion, and maybe Suzu beats her back around, that's always a possibility. And then we got Maika bringing Rana. Could be cool. That would definitely be interesting. These rookies are going to be like, everyone's going to try to be getting them, for the longest time. Poor Lady C didn't have a faction, and all these rookies are going to be like, hey, we have too many suitors at this time. But, people wanted Lady C after a while. She just wanted to get a win first, which, took a while. But thank you so much for joining me here. I'll have you on again. We'll have to talk Stardom soon in the future. There's a lot of big shows obviously coming up. We'll do that on a traditional podcast, shall we? But thank you so much for joining me. Like you said, tell the people where they can find you on socials, YouTube, before I let you go.
I kind of blew that. I did that already. So it's String 6 Splash. It's no spaces. It's the number 6, String 6 Splash. Again, you can just search for Red Belt Radio on YouTube. That should do the trick. And then I just got to tell you, man, your work ethic is like unparalleled. Your insights are really, really, really great to hear. And then no matter what's happening in Stardom, your commentary on the current events, the past events, the future, I think they're always worth listening to and learning from. So I appreciate everything you're doing.
Man, I greatly appreciate that. You're trying to get me on camera. That's not gonna happen. I'm gonna keep strong, but that means a whole lot. So thank you for that. Everyone go check out Red Belt Radio. Listen to the voice that everyone loves. And I think everyone has so many great thoughts on Stardom. So keep going at it. Thank you for listening. And you'll be back on the show quite soon. I know that. So until next time, so long, my friend.
Take it easy. I can't wait.
All right, folks, we'll continue on here. Sure, we'll go with that view. Thank you again so much. That was just so great. I love having new people on the show. I know I have a bunch of people set up to come on, so we will I'll be sending out links periodically, but let's get through the next couple matches. Next up, we have Lady C and Hina versus Yuna Mizumori, Saki versus Tekla and Mai Sakurai versus Saki Kashima and Ami Sourei. This match was, this is how I phrased it, the best way to avoid a battle royal. And I am all for that. I don't like battle royals. I am over battle royals. There's too many battle royals. The only battle royal I've ever liked is a Royal Rumble, and there's no WWE Stardom jokes. Do not think about it. But that's how I felt. So I'm all for getting these 4-way tags. There's nothing. Everyone got their spots. Everyone had their moments. It was a very good job. No complaints here. Again, if you're listening right now, feel free to leave comments. I'll show them on the screen. Excuse me, of course. But feel free to leave comments. Feel free to leave questions. I will be answering and talking about them all the time. I'll have new guests filtering in very, very soon. But just letting you all know. But this match was won by Ami Sourei when she pinned Yuna Mizumori. If there's a highlight from this match, it really was the work between Ami Sourei and Yuna Mizumori. It was minimal. It was like maybe 30 seconds, truthfully, but it was very good. It's what I like from those two. I think Ami is starting to work better and better, especially with fellow powerhouses like a Yuna Mizumori. So fun little match there. Nice to see Saki back. Mai Sakurai cut her promo. All a day's work. Next up, we had the return of Mayu Iwatani. Oh, how I've missed Mayu. It was a tough road there, folks. I was not having a good time without her on these shows. And I'll just say that, no problem about it. Like, it for me, Stardom is so much better when she's around. And you felt it in this match. You felt it every part of this match. She went out there, you're focusing on her, her dislocated finger, and that's pretty much all Oedo Tai focused on. And she still went out there and put on a show as if she was in the main event rather than this random, 8-person tag. And I'm very happy with how it turned out. I think that her and Starlight Kid need to have a big singles match in the new year. I don't know what or when, but they need to. Starlight Kid has already said she wants that match. And they need to make up for not having their match in the 5-star a few months ago, because that is the signature match every year, and we missed one. So that was a shame, but this was quite good, I'd say, in terms of just prelim tags. We got some questions here, so let's get to them. Question for you: do you think Tekla should be in a more prominent position in 2024? Absolutely, 100%. I think she has a star. I don't want to use the word "or" because everyone uses that word, but she has star power to her. I feel like when she shows up, I feel like she jumps off the page, right? And she's someone that I think needs to be utilized a bit better moving forward. I was hoping that Saki Kashima would steal another pin here. What's with the Saki violence? That was funny. Do you think the mindset of Stardom slash Bushiroad and how they produce the shows need to change? Well, I want to always be able to hear the crowd. And I think one thing that maybe they don't always do necessarily well is mic the crowd. I think they do great camera shots. I think they do everything like that, right? Because we've had the great imageries of the past big matches between Suzu and Maika specifically, where we see one, down and out, and you get this great photo moment essentially. And I think that's something that I wouldn't change. Um, but we'll have to wait and see. Would you like to see wrestle against Mayu Utani for the IWGP Women's Championship in 2024? Well, I got my first one in Shuri. I'd like to see Starlight Kid. Perhaps I'd like to see maybe Julia before she leaves, if she does leave. Of course, I don't know, but those are the few. Not I mean Tam, I guess, just so that Tam can still never beat Mayu. I think that would be a very enjoyable moment for me personally. Um, you know what? We need May Sarah versus and Hanan too. I totally agree. I thought we were gonna get it on one of these three shows. Seems like they're holding off. But before I answer the next question, I will have Velke join me. Oh, what is this view? I don't like that one bit. Velke, how are you?
Hello. Does my microphone work?
Yes, it does.
Thank you. Great. Glad to be here. Glad to be back after half a year or something like that.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. I know I've tried to have you on a few times with, certain Stardom shows. They were tough, So I went from almost doing a live show a few times and being like, you know what? I'll just I'm good.
Yeah, understandable. Your time zone is not kind to you to
No.
watch the Japanese wrestling. Look, I wake up, I make coffee, I make breakfast, and then I put on wrestling. It's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, must be nice. I didn't
Yeah.
wake up. I stayed up for 24 hours instead.
Yeah, I'm too old for that.
Yeah, oh, sure. I'm not making any old jokes like some other. Well, Peps did in the chat, so that's enough for you. No
God
old jokes.
damn it.
But what were your feelings about the show?
I love the show. The show hashtag restore the feeling. It was perfect outside of the Tam Nakano jump scares, because let me tell you, when the thing where Japanese production during title matches, just before you get into the closing stretch, you get the zoom in on the title that they were fighting for.
Yep.
You know what they showed us on the screen when instead of the title belts?
I sure do.
Tam Nakano's face. So
Yeah.
basically, the semi-main event and main event were about Tam Nakano, not about the belts, and they were fighting for Tam Nakano, not for the belts, because both of those, at least half of the people in the match, in the semi-main event, both of them were fighting about Tam Nakano. So, like, I was very angry about that.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. Oh Tam. She's not back for a few more months, so I don't have to
I'm
think
kind of
about it.
glad that she's not back, because like we know that she's coming back, but we know that we still have at least 2.5 months before
Of
we have
safety.
to contend with her again.
I was expecting her to be back at the beginning of February, so her kind of pushing that off a little bit gives me a little time to get ready for her ultimate return. What was your favorite match of the show?
The tag title match.
I think that's a great choice. It was a great match.
Because that felt like the
ending.
It felt like a statement. It felt like, this is Stardom. This is what we are. This is our style. This is our match. More than the both of the big matches or the strong match, because that was completely different. Something completely different, which I really enjoyed, because the two top matches were kind of similar while still different. The tag title match was like perfect encapsulation of the Stardom style that I like.
Yeah, I can see that. I really liked that match. And I thought there was a lot to like about I don't honestly all the matches. I have to watch. Admittedly, I have to rewatch the main event. I missed about 5 minutes. And I
Yeah, because
haven't.
of the
Yeah, I haven't seen the match in a full flow yet. But if you thought I wasn't sleeping before this, you're nuts. So I had to. But let's kind of start to get into this a little bit. So let's talk about we'll talk. I'll talk about this after. Let's talk about that title match, shall we? I think since it was your favorite, it's perfect to kind of skip a little bit forward to that. I'll get to the trios match after. But it was Utami Hayashishita and Saya Kamitani successfully defending the titles against Natsuko Tora and Momo Watanabe. I thought this match was great. Like this is the Aphrodite um, that Stardom desperately missed. And I'm not saying they've been bad or anything over the past couple months. I've loved almost everything that they've done. They've been telling, in that first match where they beat Divine Kingdom, I thought they told a great story of being the true team in that match, and that's why they ultimately won, and so on and so forth. And by the way, to the chat light, I will be answering your question in a second. I just want to get to this match, but I loved, and I think most people did that love Stardom, loved the story of Queen's Quest during the summer. And I loved them going back to it for this year-end show. I know some people would have preferred, Sayori and Natsupoi to come back or a new tag team. This was a match that I very much welcomed. I think Natsuko Tora works incredibly well, especially with Utami, which is kind of who they focused on. I think Momo was excellent in this match. She's often excellent, I think. And I know you're a big fan of hers as well. But them overcoming, and I can look past the pin miscue in the match because they didn't dwell on it. In some matches you dwell on it, you give it time to get
yeah.
dwell on, and then it ruins it. Go ahead.
If I can, I'm sorry about that. I this For that one, I was like, okay, I am not breaking my disbelief. I'm not breaking my suspension of disbelief because of that, because like Barb was staring at Utami's green face.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, he stopped the count because of the mist, and I went on.
Yeah.
Like completely in my head. I was like, okay, it's because of he was supposed to break the count. Saya was not supposed to make it, and I went on. I was like, and then after reading people reacting to the spot, like at the moment, I was like, okay, I guess that was mistimed. Whatever. As I said,
But I think I think that's
if
a
I
good way
was
to look
watching
at it.
alone, I would like never notice it. I would maybe just after the show, like when I checked Twitter or something like that. But before that, I would have not noticed that.
I think looking at the missed spot and kind of thinking of it that way is great. Actually, a great idea of way to like you said, suspend disbelief and kind of the understanding of so many times we see wrestlers get missed and nothing happens.
Yeah,
I like the idea that this time the ref was like, "All right, no."
Yeah,
I like that.
the thing is that it was literally the first pin immediately after the mist,
Yeah.
so he knew, and Natsuko was not blocking his view of the mist, which by the way she often does. She tries to block the view, which is what Kagetsu told her, because he always did like block the view of the referee after the mist. So as I said, if I did not read anything about that because I was in a live chat, so that kind of like brought that to my attention. But without it, I would have like completely forgiven them that.
Absolutely. Now moving forward with Stardom, how are you feeling after what was overall an up and down year, obviously, but definitely a low couple of months, right? I don't think that's I think that's maybe sugarcoating it, truthfully. How are you feeling now heading into the new year with Stardom?
Okay, I think I have to go just back to April. I think in April I noticed that they like the big venues that they've announced during the pay-per-views were like clumped together. And I was before I did a preview for 5 Star, I was like, they are having 3 Ottawa shows in a space of a month and a half. That's insane. Nobody does that. Not even New Japan does that. And they are the only company that can afford that. Nobody does that. It was stupid. Like, and we know now that it was because of and even before that, I assumed that they have 2 contracts with pay-per-view providers, one with Samurai TV, one with the payout or someone to do their production and to sell their pay-per-views. So they had to book 2 pay-per-views a month, which screws up with storytelling, with booking, and with screwed up scheduling. And after the Hiroshima show, Rossi tweeted something about lack of local promotion. I don't know if you have noticed that tweet. And on that show, if you remember, on the poster was Risa Serra and Julia, and not and the tag title, and not Konami and Mirai. And if you remember, Konami and Mirai after the match did the basically main event post-match ending promo in their match. So there was something wrong. I've noticed something wrong during the summer. I was like, okay, it makes sense. It's driving the money. The money guys behind it drives the money. Then we got the money report, and they've made $10 million and $1.5 million profit, which now makes sense because they overreached. During that, they piled on injuries. Injury after injury after injury after injury, some by wear and tear, some by freak accidents. For example, Saya is a freak accident. You cannot like predict anything like that. I think Utami is wear and tear. I think they can be. I think the back injuries usually are wear and tear. So we've noticed like a thing that something's wrong. And then we got wrestlers tweeting out issues and so on. And then we got the turnover, which not only in Stardom but in New Japan as well. And now we have a president who is 1.5 presidents because he's president of Stardom and half a president of New Japan. So right now, Stardom currently, after this year, sits just under 100,000 tickets sold during a year. Just for people to know where they were before Bushiroad purchase, they sold approximately 33,000 tickets a year in 2019. You have to remember that they've sold 2 Korakuen Hall shows on heels of 2 Korakuen Hall shows on heels of Bushiroad announcement. So the year-end climax, which usually was one of their bigger shows, they sold more tickets than usual, even for that show. So you can say maybe some tickets were piled on with that. They basically tripled the amount of tickets they can sell through a year in 5 years. It will be in 4 years. So next year is the 5th year under Bushiroad umbrella. I think we can see that they are preparing for like a transition year between the, in air quotation, old guard and the new guard. We have stalwarts in Utami and Saya who were carrying us through who were rising up to the top through the first 4 years of the Bushiroad ownership, and now we are building new people. And I think having Utami and Saya as the tag champs is great foundation for the shows going forward. You can risk having Maika, who is not basically proven business mover, on top of the card outside of Fukuoka, or with Shuri, for example, or Julia, proven drawing talent. You can have her if you have underneath her like top star tag team. So I would love it if Aphrodite holds the title for more than a year and maybe loses them next spring, like the 2025. So they've broken or are really close to breaking the Thunder Rock record, and I would love that if it would work out like that.
I think you ride with these two as long as you possibly can.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of momentum here with them together rather than apart. We did the apart thing, and that brought us back here, right? We teased the apart thing, I should say. We didn't do like a full on split, thankfully. I think you're absolutely right in that having them as a foundation so that you can go with the Maikas and the Saori Anos at the top is a very it's a great decision, and it's fitting because of really who all their champions are now. They have obviously they have a million titles as is, but you get my point. Is right. You have Maika, Saori, now Aphrodite, May Sarah. You have the artist champs, which we never see, and then Mayu and Julia with the strong belts. Strong New Japan, whatever the hell the company's called.
Yeah, it does not really matter.
No, it does not. But I think in terms of the Stardom belts, you're absolutely right, and I think that's a great way to look at it, especially moving forward. Because 2024, I think you're right with the transition and what we have going on behind the scenes, what's going to be unfolding on TV. I'm excited about where they're going because of who their champions are, because they're taking chances. That's the one thing that Stardom often does better than anyone, in my opinion, is take chances on new talent. And this is that to the extreme, right? Let's get through a few comments here. My apologies, everybody. We got a question from Light. Which of the current factions do you think will either grow more prominently in the new year, and which faction do you think most likely to disband in 2024? Club Venus disband. I just don't see a use for it unless they're bringing in like a lot of international talent, which
I
is
would
possible.
love. Like before they announced that the Triangle Derby will be 1 year,
Yeah.
1 day tournament. I was like hoping that the thing that would sell the show would be a draft. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, you have too many unaffiliated people. You have like boatload of rookies. You have factions that are weird. Let's do a draft. Let's do a match in which we killed Jungle Assault Nation. Let's kill Club Venus. Let's split Mina and Waka. Let's put Waka back into Cosmic Angels, so we have Cosmic Angels as pure actress girls faction. Let's put Mina with, I don't know, Shuri.
I liked Mino Shuri a lot, which I'm gonna bring up that match in a second.
Yeah.
Um,
So basically, you have like this shoot Mina. She can do that, and like you can spread the rookies, and basically you do not lose anything on paper, but you sell one show on the idea of the draft, which I think would be better. And you know how the drafts went. Like people drafted their faction mates all the time.
Yeah,
Like there was one
it's
public
easy,
change.
right? And that's how you cause change. I think in terms of this question, growing more prominent in the new year, it's tough for me because like DDM's in such a era of question now, where they're kind of already teasing maybe Maika leaves or something of the sort, while they're teasing, right? They're putting Julia and Suzu together. She almost seemingly sided with her, and we'll see that on the 4th. Stars is already huge. Like they have, like I'm more expecting someone to leave them in the new year. Who?
I'm expecting Momokogo to go to Cosmic Angels. Like there was a thing that was teased before, but it never went on because the faction movement was like stopped completely since like April.
Yeah, I could see Stars lose Momokogo and add a rookie.
Yeah, that would work. Yeah, that would work.
I think that would be fitting. I think Oedo ties a weird faction. I can never fully predict who they're adding.
If If they are adding anyone, I think they are adding Amisore, and she's betraying God's Eye because that's the next program, I think.
So long.
Yeah, I guess I'll take her.
All right.
What can I do?
See you, Ami. Bye-bye. Have a good one. Oh wait, you just said she's gonna go to another faction. She's not leaving. Oh,
Yeah, two
yeah.
at a time. Yeah, that's.
I think that'd be an interesting challenge for her, actually.
Yeah. Actually, it would help her a lot, probably.
Yeah,
Maybe
it allow
give
her
her
to
a
change
like
things
personality.
up. Yeah, yeah. I think that's a great question though. Like, let's get into this match real quick, which I thought was a really fun trios match. It was Mei Sarah, Mina Shirakawa, and Shuri going against 7-Up and Azumi. The highlight of the match was Azumi falling before the match, actually, trying to do the pose, and she just absolutely ate it in the middle of the ring. That got me big time. But once the bell rang, it was much of the same that we're used to, I think, from these 7-Up matches. I think they're always really good. And I loved seeing Shuri and Mina together. I didn't think that pairing would make a lot of sense in my mind, but they have a very natural chemistry, which I thought was something to maybe work towards down the line because of where Mina currently is and her standing. And it looks like they're building something up for her right now, just based off of, the way Rossi hyped this match. And they went as far as moving her to the front of the graphic in this damn photo. The original one did not look like this. I just want everyone to know that. I look at the little things. I apologize. But overall, I just thought, like, you got the Mei Sarah Azumi, teases, and they're running crazy. We got Shuri kicking the life out of 7-Up and Azumi. Both Shuri and Mayu looked like so determined because I think they're both like, we should have big matches on both shows, but it's fine. And ultimately, if we weren't doing the Stardom Gate show, that match would have been on this show. And that's the natural truth, because listen, Wrestle Kingdom, that ain't happening right now, folks. Maybe President Ace will save the day. But for now, that was not happening.
No, President Ace will not save the day.
No, but I do like Tanahashi, so I hope he saves the day for at least New Japan. And ultimately, in the end, it was Nanae Takahashi pinning Mina Shirakawa. Something I actually called while I was talking to Alex. I was like, what if Mina gets pinned by Nanae? And then it happened. And I was like, ooh, that's tough.
Yeah, but that you were talking to Alex, you were trolling Alex.
I was, but I actually was like looking at this. I was like, well, Mei Sarah can't get pinned, and Shuri can't get pinned. Mina's the odd person out here, unless Azumi was pinning Mei Sarah. That was the only other way, because 7-Up wasn't losing. I'm not silly here. How do you like this match?
I really enjoyed it. It was basically the whole undercard was like extremely enjoyable. Everyone worked hard. Everyone looked good, and it was. I had a lot of fun in this whole show. As I said, this show I started feeling like outside of the white belt and the Tam Nakano jump scares. I love this show.
Yeah, I agree. I think those are like the two things to compare. And I know for a lot of people, obviously, they love Tam, so they're excited to see her back. Well, she's not even back, but see her in any form. I think this was, again, really good. There's a lot of comments that I will get through, but to get back to our conversation here, because I will bring on a new guest in a few minutes.
Yes.
One, what are you most looking forward to in 2024 outside of things that we've talked about here? Two, who would you like to see? I know you talked about Shuri. Who would you like to see Maika's first defense be against? It won't be Shuri because of the IWGP title match. And three, your thoughts on the rumors of WWE and Stardom.
Let's start with the last one. I don't care at all.
Yep.
I just don't care.
I don't either, but I don't like it.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll stop watching.
Yeah, that's not the result any of us want now, is it?
Yeah, but like, what? I cannot do anything about that. So why worry?
Right. Maybe it's just an NXT person. Anyways, we're
Yeah.
move away from that.
Okay, so what I'm looking forward to the most, I'm looking forward to the most to like the changes in storytelling, because that's what I've missed the most in 2023. Even the build up to the All Star Grand Queendom, and even the last year Wrestle Queendom was like lacking in the storytelling department, and I think
Oh, you're
that
telling me Haruka Umasaki and Saya Kamatani didn't have a great story?
oh, you think like, okay, conspiracy theory. My reasoning for why she was on the card on the semi-main event is because the sponsor they got for the cosmetics, which got the huge, like the pillars in the Shinjuku station or so, they wanted Haruka Umasaki on the poster of the show. So
Sure.
that's why.
Better than any reason I can think of.
Like, we never got a reason. Nobody
She
knows
disappeared.
why. So there's that. Okay. So basically, the storytelling for the last almost a year has been broken in a lot of parts. One of the things I've said is the faction movement completely stopped. Like, you had how many people did debut in Stardom and are unaffiliated and has been since April? Like, last movement was Saori.
Yeah.
Saori moving to Cosmic Angels because they needed people. Waka moving forever to Club Venus, and Club Venus like being founded. But then Suzu, Mei, Hanako, Aya, Megan.
Well, we're losing Megan.
Yeah, I know. I'm very
Sadly.
sad about it. I am very sad and angry about it because she. Oh my god, it was such an awesome match. I love that. Megan, and now new three rookies, Suzuki, Rana, and Gurara. So, like, that's how many? 9 people?
Yeah.
9 people? 9 people without a home, without faction? What's going on?
Chilling.
This
there's
is
more
not my
rookies to
Stardom.
come.
This is not my Stardom. Like, that's not what Kagetsu and you wanted. What's going on?
You can make a faction right now out of them.
Out of the unaffiliated people, just like a function, not functional. Yeah, it would be functional faction. You have a big, you have a heavy, and Megan, you have Maika. Maika would have lead the faction. Suzu can lead the faction. It's so the faction movement, the storytelling, because there were a lot of like threads people weaved into the shows, and we never got to resolutions. As I said, Momoko go from to Cosmic Angels because her stories with stars basically are over. It's done.
Yeah,
it's finished
prematurely.
Yeah, and then you have like the Koguma story, you have the Lady C story, like all the undercarders have had their stories, and if all of them were dropped, and even the top card people had their stories, and most of them were dropped. The only one was basically Queen's Quest, Utami and Saya forcing their hand and making them do it, because Utami has the balls of steel and is able to force anything through.
That reminds me, just not to cut you off, you can go back, but during the tag title match, which I again loved, thought it was great.
Yes.
I was like, can Utami just stop taking some of these bumps? Like, we just got her back.
No,
listen, it's the one on the neck that I just would like her to chill out about. Like everything else, it's fine, but
yeah, I know.
I need her around.
Why we love her is because she's completely insane.
She's so good. She's just
so good.
She is.
Just
never bring that stupid long hair back again.
No, please stay short haired forever.
The hair that she notably does not like. Do not bring it back.
Yes, I don't understand what she was thinking. Like, she made Barb blade her. She bled in the cage match.
Yeah, which is
nobody does that. Nobody is allowed to do that. She's the only person who ever bleeds.
It's
The
insane.
one time was on accident, but the
Oh,
cage
yeah.
match was not an accident.
Still beast.
Yeah. And poor Arisa did not know what to do with her when she was bleeding. Like, Arisa was completely shocked and confused and nervous. Utami, like a complete psychopath, calmed Arisa down and let her like do the thing. It was awesome.
Yeah.
She's great. So they basically, Queen's Quest basically forced the storytelling into the box in which the faction storytelling is supposed to happen between the start of the 5-star and end of the big show, basic end of the Golden Week, and start of the 5-star, and then afterwards we got nothing, like completely nothing, and that's what I want for us to come back to. I don't know if that's like the Rossi and the management, previous management, or even the current management of the Bushiroad fight or whatever. I don't know why, but it happened, and I want that fixed. So that's what I'm looking forward to most in the 2024.
Okay, and then first Maika challenger. Who would you like to
First
see?
Maika challenge. I don't know. Give me something. Actually, surprise me.
Okay.
I'm open for a surprise.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I think that's kind of almost my expectation, though they could go to Julia based off of the preview tag, or not preview tag, not previewing anything. But the tag at the Tokyo Dome City Hall show that you thankfully saved me on. I had no idea they changed that.
Yeah,
Which
they changed
I'm a fan of.
They changed it in the backstage, and like the journal that did the interview tweeted it. That's why I knew it about it.
Yeah. The only thing I saw when I woke up was the Stardom WWE thing, and I was like, all right, that's enough. I'm gonna go back to happy thoughts.
No more news. Yeah.
No more of that. But yeah, I think there's a lot to do with Maika. There's a lot to do with all these wrestlers. And who would you like to see? And this is very far in the future. I don't mean to beat the new champions, but this will be my last question for you before we wrap up here. Who would you like to see be the next top 2 champions now that we have crowned 2 new champions to close out the year?
Not Boy. No, you will not have the sign with the boy. No.
Listen. I told the world what's happening. I already did. I already predicted it. But
if their matches were not as bad, I'd say Mirai comeback. But their matches are not great.
No, we don't need to run that back.
No, we don't. Maybe if it's just like 12-minute match or something like that, like a big squash of Sauri.
We can make it a 10-minute time limit.
15. I think 15's fine. 15's fine. Over 15 is bad. No, as I said, like I'm not a person who like looks into the future, especially for the champions who goes and beats them, and like I'm more than willing to let promotions tell their story. So I don't actually know who's going to be like the challengers or the next champions. I don't know.
Maybe it's
surprise me.
2 people on the screen.
No, they for sure should not touch the belts for some time. But you know what I would have loved? I would have loved if the Bundai show was Utami for the red and Saya for the white and both losing. We would have lost the tag title match on the show, but I think I'd be willing to sacrifice that for that.
Yeah, maybe you'd have the artist back by then, so it'd be okay.
Yeah, maybe. You probably have the artist. Like
the artist belt.
Yeah, you know they exist.
Do they? Yeah, I don't see them.
It's the strong belt. You know the strong belt. Strong belt is bad.
I hate the strong belt.
I was hoping Megan is beating Julia and taking the strong belt to USA, and we will never ever have to think about the belt. But no, we have Julia announced for the San Jose show for some reason.
We sure do, and she's probably not losing to Trish Adora. All right, Velke, where can the people find you? And anything else? And of course, thank you for joining me today.
Okay, you can find me on Twitter with this great, amazing username, and I talk about Joshi. I make fun of Tony Khan, and I. I'm sorry, Scott.
Oh, you got me there. Good.
And I yell about wrestling usually, and then I
Well,
sometimes
you wouldn't be a wrestling fan if you didn't.
yeah. Like go to a wrestling show with me. You'll have a lot of fun. I am a very restless person when I'm having fun. Yeah, the only wrestling show that you can come with me is in Japan. So meet me in Japan 2025 Golden Week. Let's go to
There
a
we go.
wrestling show together.
Yes. I
Anyway,
like that
I
plug.
have
That's a good
a
one.
podcast randomly. It's
You
called
do.
Actress Stage, and you can find it on YouTube. Just Actress Stage. It's about the Actress girls promotion. It's fun. One a month, basically recap of the previous month, and look forward to the next show on the next month. Next episode will be up probably in second week of January because they take a long time to upload the Krakenall show, which happened today as well.
Yep.
Same time as the Stardom Sumo Hall show.
What a bold decision.
They did the same thing the last year, and because of that, I missed that show. Sucks.
I don't know why they would do that. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's because they got the slot in the Kurgan, and
I
it's a good
guess, yeah.
slot. It's a good
Well.
slot. It's 29th in the evening, so you have to do it if you can get it.
Yeah, I don't know how they did, but hopefully they did well.
Under 600.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah,
there was 3,000 people, and
yeah,
okay,
yeah. 3,000 is not great.
No, it's lower than last year, but higher than what the first one? The first one?
Yeah, and one of the two shows in 2021, or like when was the double shot? That
the
was
World
this
Climax.
year. Last year, double shot to last year.
Yeah, the way I look at the number is could be
they
worse.
have 3 shows in a week.
Yeah, also true. They do.
They'll probably sell around 5,500 tickets or something like that.
You say 3 shows in a week, yeah, and they also have 2 Corkins at the start and end of it.
Yeah,
so
it's like yes, let's have 5 shows in Tokyo in a space of 14 days.
5 shows in Tokyo in all the big venues.
Yes,
or all the main venues.
Good job, scheduling team. Great job. Happy for you.
This is the perfect way to have Velke end by getting angry about the scheduling. I think that's only fair, but it's a bright side. We're all happy about where Stardom is. So Velke, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me on.
I look forward to talking with you again, but I'm going to tag you out now.
Goodbye, people.
I'll talk to you soon. All right. Let me get through these comments real quick. Peps, I'm just gonna go through these comments. You can take a second. Ref pulled up on 3 counts a lot. This is about the last match, of course. This match was great. Tora looked really good here, and we didn't get much away with Tide BS. Yeah, they're not the House of Torture. Come on now. The K spot looked great though. Yeah, it looked great. Yeah, I loved that when Sai is jumping up. And actually, I'm going to mute you real quick, Peps, and then I'll have you come back in. Good that you mentioned the honors belts. Is it me or they defended less than Julia has strong belt? They're absolutely defended less. Would you guys like to see Mina go after the IWGP Women's title? Absolutely. I don't see why not. Momo Kogo, yes. Multiverse United, Passion. With a long Aphrodite title reign, when do Utami and Saya get their single title reigns? I still think Saya wins a Grand Queendom. Not Grand Queendom. Dream Queendom next year, end of next year. I think a long title reign could last quite a while, but I do think that you can have them drop it at the end of the summer and then go into the 5-star. Brad, if they had to have 7-Up and Azumi win, I think Azumi pinning May to set up a high-speed title would have worked much better than pinning Mina. I agree, mostly because I really wanted that title match. Not entirely sure what Rossi's doing with Mina. She got destroyed by Dump, her head kicked off by Shuri, and now lost to Nai. Such odd booking. I agree. Eternally Pure, looking forward to the show at work, so probably can't chat too much. Well, thank you. I appreciate you. I always appreciate your comments and stuff while you listen to the show, so thank you. As long as it's a partnership, I'm fine with it. However, whether it's WWE or AEW, both of them likely wants more cake rather than giving it to the other. Wasn't Yuna going to Cosmic Angels after Sayori? I always thought she was in it before that. But yeah, you're probably right. Which factions would you guys put the unaffiliated wrestlers into? That's a lot of wrestlers. Peps, I'll let you jump back in here. But I have no idea. There's so many. Like with the rookies, I kind of want them to still keep figuring themselves out. Like Hanako can go wherever. I thought DDM for a while made sense. But I don't know
if they start something with Maika, then Hanako should be in it. But otherwise, I don't see a spot for her right now.
Maika could just take DDM too.
Yeah. Wherever Maika is, to be fair.
Yeah,
it's the same with Lady C, but Lady C, she got into Queen's Quest for some reason, so no, so it would do.
First opponent for Maika. There's only one answer. Fukigen Death, the most over wrestler of the show. Okay, always wrong. Jeez. Poor guy's not even here anymore. Getting attacked. Mo Watanabe beat Maika at 5-star Grand Prix. That could be a challenger they love. I like that matchup. I always will. Those two, I think, are always great together. Watch it be Hazuki taking another L. Oh, boy. Hazuki for the April show. All right. Peps, welcome to the show.
Hi. First of all, I hope you all like my profile picture here.
It's called payback.
It is. I needed to survive with the sad Maika pick last time.
Yeah.
Last time at live show at least, and now we at least have something positive once.
Yeah. We'll get to that. But obviously, welcome. Let's dive in here. We're not gonna. I'll ask you your thoughts and stuff, but I want to get through the show review, and then we will.
The first thing I want to do is to shout out Hina. She was in a match today. I don't think she knows it, but she was in a match, and I want to shout at her.
Alrighty then. We had Julia defend the strong women's championship against Megan Bayne in what many are calling the Megan Bayne breakout match. She was spectacular in this match, whether it was the power moves of stopping Julia, whether it was her crazy slew of moves that she has added to her arsenal, including the double rope German suplex, where she deadlifts the wrestler out from the outside. That nasty clothesline she loves to do. Of course, her F5 and so on and so forth. She also did a moonsault in this match, which was pretty crazy. But of course, in the end, it was Julia getting the win. This match was all about Megan Bayne. It was not about Julia. I thought the first half or first couple minutes at least were lacking. I think that for what I expect from a Julia match, I expect a lot more punch than I did. I got a lot more holds, which I'm never looking for in Julia matches. But Megan Bayne's performance really lifted this match up to a level that I'm happy they got to by the end. I think this is the match that a lot of people outside of the main event were left talking about in high regards, and I think for good reason. I think if you're AEW, you're beyond excited of what you're getting back in Megan Bayne. It's just the truth. I think she is.
Yes.
Of course they aren't. But she is going to be. She should be. I don't know. I'm not going to predict the future. I have no idea how she can get booked. But she should be a big deal for years to come. She is an absolute force. I know a lot of people are asking for her to stay at this stage because, again, she is really taken Stardom by storm and done so great in the big matches. I think working alongside Maika in the tag league really helped her a lot, kind of get some confidence. Obviously, working alongside the May Sarahs and Suzus and Maikas, like that has done the world of good for her. And she really got to showcase it here. Julia was very willing to make a star out of her rather than the other way around, which isn't very WWE of Julia. I don't know what she's doing. They don't like AEW. But I digress. How did you like the match, Pep?
First of all, I mean, I knew coming into this match it will deliver, but I think overall it was seen as maybe the surprise match of the night, considering the match, like everyone had expected the match to be good, but it was like one of the best Julia matches of the year outside of the red belt work against Tam Nakano and of course the Yuki match. I'm not a fan of the Suzuki one as much anymore as it was in the beginning. But that was just a Mang Bane breakout performance in a good and a bad way. Because in a good way for her, and a bad way for Stardom, considering she's leaving anytime soon. Because in the end, Stardom is not gaining much out of it anymore. Especially if Julia leaves anyway, but that's another story. Yeah. But just if you compare this Mang Bane match against Julia compared to the August World of Stardom title match. Yes, she had a World of Stardom title match. No, people don't remember that. If you just remember that to the World of Stardom title match against Tam Nakano, just her moveset is a totally different one, where she rather was in the Tam Nakano matches straight up typical powerhouse who just throws Tam Nakano around. She was a well-rounded wrestler that actually interacted more with the crowd and was able to pull out moves that you have not seen before with her yet. The Tombstone Pile Driver that I think debuted on a Hurricane Hall. Then of course the suplex that she debuted against Julia in the first match, and then of course the moonsault towards the end of the match. You just saw over the past 5 months how much she has improved in the ring. She still has her weaknesses, especially in the build-up of a match at the beginning part, and her promos are not good. It's enough. It's enough for Stardom. Don't get me wrong. It's just not enough for where she's heading to. So overall,
was always giving her a mouthpiece, of course.
Yeah. Overall, for like a 25-year-old American talent that is like in Japan for 5 months, she has improved a lot, and that's the positive thing taking out of this.
I agree. I totally agree. I think ultimately, when it comes down to it, this run by Megan Bane will go down as a success for her specifically. She got and a success for Stardom. Absolutely. Yeah. They went all in with her without giving her a title necessarily, but they gave her these big matches, and look at her now. It's proof to why wrestlers should want to go to Stardom to get better. If Mariah May wasn't enough proof, Megan Bane should be the follow-up in proof itself. And I think that's definitely an interesting conversation as we head into 2024. It'll be interesting to see what's next when it comes to Julia, of course. She is someone who is in the news for many, many reasons. Most of them not having to do with her actual wrestling. Of course, WWE wants her. If I was a betting man, it would be hard to say she does anything besides go there. She has been destined for WWE.
I mean, if she doesn't go next year, then she's going in 2025 or 2026.
Right.
So
right. It depends.
It's not like she will be here forever. She's not a Mayu Gatani.
No, damn right she's not.
She proved it already.
Damn right she's not. And I think with Julia, I've come to accept whatever decision she makes, mostly because when WWE calls, it usually ends up, they take
you listen, especially with what's going on in WWE, how much they can pay in the main roster.
Yeah,
And considering she knows what kind of star she is.
The timing couldn't be better for her to see Io Shirai as champion and say that can be me. I don't like the idea of what her style might look like in WWE. I think I saw it at the beginning of this match, which was a lot of grappling, and I was like, all right, sure.
The good part about it is that part of her moves still can be in use in Star and in WWE.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
She just can't do the North Lights bomb like Eddie Kingston does.
And Eddie's getting knocked around here accidentally, but yeah, you're right. I think over these next few months it'll be interesting to see what she does, but ultimately when I saw her make her entrance, I was like, this does feel like her last Dream Queendom. I would love to see her at least wrap up at Grand Queendom, but I'm also not. She doesn't need to take a spot on that card either necessarily from someone.
I think they will, and I mean, I could be. It's always with Stardom. It's always difficult, especially with some kind of retirement matches. But Suzu beating her in a final match in Stardom would be the best case, maybe for both, because Suzu needs to beat Julia before she leaves. Same for Maika, by the way. But
I think Maika could be getting that very soon. Just based off of where we're going with that story immediately, and Maika already calling her out. But a very good match here. Let me see what we got for thoughts here on the match. Brad, Julia getting into WWE mode with all the holds. Oh man. When someone tells Tony about how great this match was, he's going to be so excited to bring Megan back to the US. I would hope so. I would sure hope so.
I don't think he's watching it.
No, me either. We get 6-star in the chat, especially not when the GOAT Natsupoi is back. Let's see. This the kind of felt like Megan Swanson. Hope she sticks around. She's been fantastic, and her and Julia work well together. Sadly, I don't think she will be around much longer.
Well, to be fair, originally the rumors was that she was leaving like a month ago. So
yep. So
who knows?
Be happy that we have her now. I guess she's gonna take a back seat now though, because she could be gone anytime now. Megan Bain having a breakout performance at the end of the run is a shame. Yeah. Julia leaving. I'd like to see Julia versus Stephanie Vercare and Athena, the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. You know what? I would too. And then Julia can leave. We still have not spoiled Maya. You're damn right we do. You're damn right we do. Speaking to the right person on that one. We'll toss Maika in there too, because Peps is here. And Mike is the world champ. Mike is the new world champ. But let's get to the World of Stardom Championship match, shall we? Mirai going head to head with Saori Anou. And I will say here, I was wrong, folks. And when I say I was wrong, I mean I thought for sure that these two had a great match in them. And I never got the great match that I wanted. Some people can, I've seen some people like this one. If you're going to like one between the two, this is the one to like, because I thought the last couple minutes were what I've been looking for out of this. But their pacing, the way they pace their matches against one another is mind-boggling. Like, I don't get it. It's something we've seen in big Saori matches where she takes the lead. Right? We've seen it.
I got hated on my timeline today because I said she had one of the worst performances I've seen. But it's mind-boggling how bad she is on top, and it's not on her because we have seen her being good in matches. But 3 times she has been on top in Stardom in long matches. Mirai 2, Mirai 3, not supposed strap match. All 3 of them have been under-delivering. And not even close. And I'm not saying she's the one at fault here, because
I don't blame her on the scrap match.
Mirai was not good in this match as well, considering like normally Mirai is great at getting the fire out of her and showing this fire, but it didn't work here at all. And they had chemistry towards the end.
Yeah.
Until the end, we had 24 minutes. So it was a bit rough.
It's a match that had like moments, right? Has moments here, has moments there. I'm like, this is what I'm looking for, but it's not connected. It's not all one like I want it to be, and I think that was my biggest problem. If there's a big problem with it, but I did like the closing minutes, especially. If anyone wants to share their thoughts, of course, on the match. I don't check the cage match rating. I'm not Tony Khan. Thank you for asking. That's good if people like it. Like I don't. It's not my problem.
The only thing I do is just I go in cage match, give the Maika matches a 10, and then I go out again.
Yeah, we're broke now. That is for true, 6-star. But I put a lot of stock in other people and other things where I made up for my money. Thankfully, here's the thing with Sayori now, right? Moving forward, I think that's my big thing. I feel the way I do about the match. I think it could have been better. I think the closing stretch was really, really good, but otherwise, I wanted a lot more out of these two when the match was announced, and I think that's fair, to be honest. But Sayori is now the champion. And ultimately, one way or another, that is the reality we will be living with from here on out. So that brings me to the point of who's next. And there is, in no way, shape, or form, anyone that should be the next World of Stardom champion that isn't Natsupoi. I don't care how anyone feels necessarily, but like, to me, it undoubtedly should be her, and I will be very upset if it's not. That is my complete feeling towards it. They had the stare down after the match, and I just said, running at the boot at Grand Queendom. Don't even, if Natsupoi's back and ready to go, that's where I'm doing.
I mean, they made it pretty obvious, considering what we have seen in the past 6 months.
As they should.
And considering what we saw here, the only question just is, why did they decide to give the belt to Ano, considering Mirai and Natsupoi also have the story, which tells me they are really unhappy with her run, which is not good for her.
Nope. And here's the thing: as someone who has been a Mirai fan for quite a while there, I said before this show the title needs to change because her reign was a miss. I never ever got the signature match out of her that I wanted. I really thought she had a chance. I really thought that this year was her year, and I know a lot of people don't like Mirai and still don't like Mirai, and this title reign is probably not going to help them. But I know a lot of people that do like Mirai as well, and I hope for those that do, they ultimately get her back into a spot. But I think she's going to benefit from not being in the spotlight, which she pretty much has been since the moment she debuted.
It's the problem with Mirai is just her reign was good. It's not like it was like outside of the last two, but the Konami match was just. I mean, it's Konami in 2023. She's washed. I'm sorry to say that. She's like not because she's bad or something, but just physical. She was really ill apparently, and just isn't on the highest level anymore, which is okay. The Momo match was good.
She's banged up.
Yeah, she's really banged up. The first Anu match was the one that they planned. Yeah, the first Anu match was the match they planned to be an epic, one of the best matches of the year, and it was just. If you just go objectively about it, what the overall people thought, it was good to really good. I'm rather towards good to boring, but that's another thing. But it's not like she had this fantastic match that the champions before had. Mina had the Sayaka Mitani match. Sayaka Mitani had the Tam Nakano match. The
Sayaka
Natsupoi
Mitani
match.
had a lot of matches, to be fair.
Yeah, all of yeah. But
She had the Hazuki match at the end.
Oh yeah, true. Tam Nakano had the classic against Julia, and of course,
right,
and
to win.
a few others.
And a great way to lose it too in there.
Yeah, and Julia as well. Like they had all this at least one totem match where you go back and say, "Oh yes, this match could have been one of the best matches of the year in Stardom at least." And while of course Mirai didn't have as many chances as them, none of her matches were even close to that level. The best one was the Tam one, or the Momo one, but none of them are like anything close to match of the year contender, especially considering Stardom didn't have a good year in terms of in-ring work compared to the years before, because we hadn't had all-timer classic singles match main event that we had before. So it was just the right timing. It was the right opponent, considering if you have Saria Nu on your shows, just look at her. You need to strap her up. It's, as simple as it is. Even though I wasn't the biggest fan of her performances, but just look at her.
She still had a great year too overall.
She had 3 titles this year.
She did. She is someone that Stardom has gone all in on since the moment she walked back in the door, and I think there's for good reason. She's a star, and again, it should all lead to Natsupoi. I have no problem with them making the title change because I didn't know when Natsupoi was going to be back. We didn't get an announcement here or anything. And also they wanted to, put that focus on Tam, so that's probably a big reason why as well. But it's exciting because it does feel like we have that clear direction. They kind of gave it away, and I'm okay with that. I'm excited to see what Sayori does because I think maybe a different matchup could be way more inviting for her in these big title matches. I think part of the problem was just her and Mirai did not click.
Yeah, that's 100% part of the problem. And the Natsupoi Anu problem was just a stipulation. So it's not like she's a bad wrestler.
They did their best in what is a terrible stipulation that I never need to see because
especially in Stardom where they don't know how to work stipulations.
It's not their thing. It's just not their thing.
There's gonna be this obvious match that they run against Momo Watanabe because they always run champions against Momo.
Yep.
Momo won in the 5-star against Anu too. So that is likely gonna be the Saka defense or whatever they've planned. And then Natsupoi is winning the Cinderella and is getting a shot at Bunta.
No, you couldn't say that because every time we predict someone's winning the Cinderella, it doesn't happen.
It's gonna happen. I mean,
the thing is about Stardom. Are you trying to ruin this?
The thing is about Stardom, they're so unpredictable at this point with title changes, especially because this title change came totally out of nowhere. To be fair, in terms of storyline, like the story pointed to Mirai winning this, and
look where we are now. Look at where we are now,
and we have Tam Nakano play Cosmic Angel.
Yay. But yeah, great, obviously great stuff in terms of the future because it's Natsupoi, I think, and I've been waiting for the Natsupoi reign. I'll get to the comments in a second. I'm just trying to get a stupid image up on the screen here, but we want to be difficult. Technology's bad. All right, let's get through these comments, shall we? I need to be into the right thing. Scott, Azumi, and Starlight Kid exist. Yes, they do. They do exist. I know what this is towards. I said Natsupoi should be is the only person that should be the next champion, and she should. I'm not going to change that because with champion now.
With Natsupoi, you have an obvious direction towards Starlight Kid winning it as well.
Yep, That's what I'm for. I want stories. I want stories to make sense again. Please and thank you. It should be Asmi just because it would make me happy. Preferably tomorrow. Oh, okay.
On the Oz Academy show.
It's time 6-star talking about Natsupoi. I'm gonna cry when it happens. Suzuki versus Ano never has happened. Also, that would probably be a good title match. I mean, get ready for Suzuki to lose if you're okay with that. But it's hilarious. The best match was against Tam when she won the belt at the early July show. Let's see. We got a lot of. All right, that's a lot. White belt burner Pixies the way to go. Konami match had a brilliant in-faction storyline where I was not just defending the belt, but I forgot about the Saki Kashima thing. I like Konami Mirai just because Konami going for that arm. Mirai had the Konami match as well. I put my stocks in Poi return and Maika red belt. We are so back, you guys. I know dropping with V0 is a shame, but it's Natsupoi's time, I fear. If Natsupoi had announced her return, I need you to stop it with this Poi propaganda. There's a lot of comments. Yes, Peps, jinx it. What is with the hate for Natsupoi? Enough.
People just have enough of DDM winning everything.
Well, get over it. For about a month, the focal point of the story has been that cannot pitch the RAB at 5-star first segment. They were part in the last month. Let's go.
That's what I meant with that's why Mirai technically in the storyline would have made sense to me. That's why I was surprised.
Yeah. Overall, I'm happy that this was the decision. Like I said, as much as I wanted Mirai to be a great champion, it never happened. And a fresh start for the new year is something that I very much welcome. And this is the chart, folks. We're on our way. I posted this 2 weeks ago. We're on our way, folks. It's all is right. We're on our way. I'm feeling good about it. But if we bring up the Cinderella one more time, Peps, you will pay. It's time for the main event. Suzu Suzuki versus Maika. I know a lot of people actually missed this match due to complications on the pay-per-view stream. I personally have to go back and rewatch it because I scrambled for long enough to find a way to watch the end of the match. But finally, after many years of jokes and comparisons and really a year of dominance, truthfully, we want to we could talk about the loss at the GP final, but outside of that, what a year it was for Maika. Many wins, very few losses, a main story the entire year essentially, all leading to the crowning moment that was this match. And as someone who came on this show back when Suzu won the 5-star and defended Suzu winning the 5-star and did all this, I couldn't agree more with this decision of Maika being the one to win. To me, not only was it the right decision, it was the necessary decision moving forward. She is handpicked from the fans. There's no doubt about that. I think she is the one that the fans in the building have rooted her to the top. She has put in great performance after great performance. She has put in the work, and she is the right person to go with, especially after how this end of the year stuff was going, right? So many injuries, so many ups and downs, attendance fluctuating like crazy. Go with the hot hand. Go with the person who's most over. I was very happy to see Maika win. But I know there was no one happier than you. So I will let you take the floor here.
I mean, I talked to Scott about it. I talked to Alex about it, and Dylan as well. And I cope myself into believing that she's winning, even though until the very end I thought she's losing it, because let's be real, it's in the end it was just it's just Maika versus Suzuki. It's like her winning this, even though the story was perfect, was still a bit surprising. But considering the story was perfect, the place with the sumo hall, the biggest show, well, second biggest show of the year, with the crowd behind her, with the championship being vacated and all of that, this was just now or never. I kind of compared it to the Naito Okada match 2018, considering where I expected came. It's now it's not going to be hotter for Maika, even though for Naito got, but that was just a freak accident, kind of. 2 years later, that would have not worked in Stardom, but it's another thing. It was just now or never, and I'm glad they did choose just now instead of hoping they can keep her hot for another year or two. Because we have seen it in Stardom before with other wrestlers that have lost when it matters the most, that they just couldn't get this momentum anymore. And Maika's not going to get hotter than tonight.
That's a wrestling trope of not going with the hot hand.
Yeah. And we have, she's not going to be hotter than tonight, and now her getting the run, even though it feels totally out of the world considering who has held the belt in the past years. I just want to read out a lineage since Bushiro took over. He had Mayu Vitani, Utami, Shuri, Julia, Tam Nakano, Maika, which is like I'm the biggest Maika fan, like the international, but just still, it's like the 5 biggest stars they've pushed in the past 5 years, and then of course Maika.
Yeah.
So them just not only taking the risk, but taking the risk at such an important time for the promotion, it shows that Rossi changed up his booking and finally did something right, and this is going with the momentum. We've seen it before with him, that he just sticks with his plans until the end of time.
Yeah. There's a lot of ways to look at this, and while I wish I could say like, "Oh, this match was fantastic" or something, I truly have no idea. I missed so much of it that I need to go back. But I'm sure it was very good, and the moment was all the better. The moment makes the match, right?
Yeah.
I saw the moment, and that's all I needed to see to be confident about this. And this is great image that's very reminiscent of the 5-star final where Suzu was standing tall. And I think that is an important image for the future, of course, because now Suzu had a chance to try and turn things around and get back to the top, which we know. And this is why I agree that Maika should win now, is because we know Suzu will get there. There isn't a rush with her. She's 21 years old.
There's a good chance she's holding the belt in 6 months.
There is a good chance. Absolutely. There is a very good chance she is still the next World of Stardom champion. And you can make magic out of bad situations, right? Bad situation was Tam got hurt. Tam had to relinquish the title. Now Mike is the champion. Would Maika be the champion right now had that happened? I don't know. Would either of these two have sniffed the main event? Saya Kawatani never got injured. No. But they are here, and they turned in the biggest story that was, non-Queen's Quest story of the year, the best single story. And ultimately, heading into the new year now, there is a cause for excitement with Maika as World of Stardom champion. And she kicked off the era of the Empress in a big way by calling out the biggest names. She called out Tam. She called out Julia, Utami, Saya. Those are the people she wants to defend against. She's not hiding. She's not. Ultimately, this is no offense to anyone that is big fans of Tam, but she's not going to have a Tam reign.
Oh.
Tam's reign was unbelievably forgettable. And, she didn't defend the title enough either, so that doesn't help. But, like, think of who Tam defended against, right? She defended against Megan Bain, Mina Shirakawa as well, and then Natsuko Tora. Not the title reign that anyone expected or was hoping for.
And lost a singles belt to Mirai mid-reign.
Right. Which, again, just sputtering story-wise. Maika wants the top dogs. Maika needs to face the top dogs because part of this is getting her big wins. You want that with any world champion, but Tam was different, right? Tam was already way established. This is like Maika. This is like when Utami won the belt, I think. Maika's a lot more seasoned than Utami was at the time. But having her beat a Julia, a Shuri, a Tam, an Utami, Saya, whoever it may be, that to me is very apparent. And I would have said the same thing, truthfully, if Suzu won. But definitely. Maika has these stories already built in, right? With Julia, with Aphrodite, obviously. I talked about it earlier on the stream. Like those two matches are the ones I'm looking forward to the most if they do it. Saya and Maika is one of my favorite matchups in pro wrestling. I absolutely adore those two against each other. They absolutely adore those two against. They adore going head to head. It's why they always talk about certain things with one another. They're always kind of keeping an eye on each other. And I'm looking forward to that. But I so much need Maika's first defense to be a win over Julia. Because I think that's how you really write home her dominance.
I will just say it. If Julia's leaving, and I think she will leave, then Maika and Suzu are the ones that will profit from the most. And for that, Julia should put over at least Maika, but in best case, both of them.
Two. Yeah.
Realistically, she should at least one. But I hope they run the Maika
one at the very least.
Yes, and Maika versus Julia in Ideon is a big match that will sell the tickets. That will be the first great defense because in the end, Maika is still not established. Maika is world champion, but Maika's not established as the other ones were before because unlike the others.
It's
unlike the others before, except for Tam Nakano, Mayu was a 5-star winner, the former world champion. Utami was a 5-star winner. Julia was a 5-star winner. Shiro was a 5-star winner. Tam Nakano was a World of Stardom champion. Maika was neither of that. So Maika just needs these big wins. Yeah. And realistically, she beats Julia in Osaka.
Yeah.
She beats someone in the Cinderella final, even though I don't know how many dates we have. We likely have 4.
I have no idea.
But the best case would be she beats someone at Grand Queendom, so that she can defend her belt or at least hold her belt in her hometown, which would be a miss if they let her drop the belt 7 days before they are in her hometown.
Yeah. Sure would. That would.
So for me, realistically, she's not going to be the face of the promotion next year, even though it would not be surprising considering what else they've booked this year. Realistically, she drops it at the big June or July show shortly before the 5-star. Has 6 to 7 months as the champ, 4 to 5 defenses, and then just drops it and it's all good.
I think with her, you should just ride the wave. And when I say that's how we got here, right? We rode the wave of momentum. Keep riding the wave of momentum. See how the title matches go. See what she does as champion.
See, of course, how they do a drawing power. If it turns out to be a massive draw, then you can hold the belt, run out as long as you want to.
Because here's the thing. I think all roads lead to Saya Kamatani. I keep saying that. I'm going to keep saying that. If that's the truth, Maika could easily hold this for a year. I don't think she does as of this moment. But if everything's going right, and if there's a lot of momentum and attendance is up, and she is killing it in these title matches, that is an obvious match and a story to tell. It's very simple. It's very easy to do. So I think you just ride the wave with Maika and you don't look back, truthfully. Like, I just think that's the way you do it. If things start to, go down in attendance, and I don't think they will. I think change creates excitement, and I think excitement creates cash. After all, that is what wrestling's all about. I think there's excitement with Maika. There's a reason the fans are as loud as they are for her. I don't see her flopping as champion. I know she can do the big world title match. I've seen her do it many times already, right?
Yes.
It's what she does. I've called her for the longest time the perfect Joshi wrestler to make a Puro fan a fan. And I think that is an interesting twist moving forward now that she is the world champion. There are options for her to lose too, whether it be Saya, Suzu, maybe even Utami, probably not. But I'm not focused on her losing. I'm focused on who she's beating along the way, because she deserves the big wins. She deserves the big title reign. She's here for a reason.
Stardom has the chance to make her star for the next 5 years, just by giving her a good title reign with the right opponents. And I mean, the stories are there. I mean, we already have said it, of course, with Julia as an obvious match. Shuri is an obvious match. Tim Nakano is an obvious match when she comes back. Aphrodite is an obvious match.
A lot of obvious matches.
Suzu number 3 is an obvious match, and I would throw in, if they want to run it, then Mirai is also something they can easily run with. And it's alone 7 matches.
They had a great match in the 5 star, so I would actually welcome.
That's alone 7 matches, and that's just the big ones. You can easily throw in Tomoka Inaba for some smaller show.
Do you remember last year when we said this about Julia? I think this is different, though. I think they've learned from mistakes, truthfully. They clearly have. The Triangle Derby is not 2 months; it's 1 day.
But my point is just, if you want to keep the Maika reign going as long as you can, you have the matches for it, which is at least important for a champion, because Mirai in the end had, sorry for the slander, but Mirai just had the problem that she either had no feuds or her entire feuds were in different programs all the time.
Nothing was natural.
Nothing that
Mina was, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, Natsupoi was injured.
Uh-huh.
And Suzu wasn't ready. So you have this, and of course for Suzu, I mean, she's 21.
Yeah, she's fine. She's not going to suffer much. I think they're telling an interesting story right off the bat, right? With her, she's now alongside Julia. It's almost like that's going to be how they rebuild her back up, and it's going to be pairing her with Julia, which is the story that they feel like they've wanted for a while.
It's weird because it feels like the story of Suzu versus and Julia is just going into the next chapter, but we pretty much know that the story is over in 4 months.
Yeah. That makes it tough.
So much they can do with these two. I mean, not gonna say it should happen or it will, considering the circumstances, but there's like potential for Julia's Suzu title challenge for the tag belts,
right?
Or of course them having having another singles match and all of that. There's so much you can do with them.
Absolutely.
And it's weird if Julia just leaves, but then it's Julia in the end.
It's so tough. But again, this is the fun part about Suzu losing. She has all the time in the world. And and like you and me have talked about. We talked about this when what show did we do this on? That we talked about Maika as world champion 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. We had a good conversation about that and how trying to keep the momentum isn't always the smartest choice, right? The easiest way to keep momentum, her winning, and that's what they're doing. And I think she's going to keep that momentum. I will be having Dylan join us here in a second, but I do want to just bring this up. Maika was there to make us all cry in the back. They hugged. It was an incredible moment. Just everything that makes wrestling the best was the Maika win into this. It's just like, take a second and appreciate this year, right?
Awesome moment, I think. I don't know if I wrote you this or it was Alex. I think it was Alex. But I predicted her using the Himeka powerbomb. I predicted it differently.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, because I don't know with who, because Dylan said on his podcast that it would make no sense that if Suzu wins, that she's just doing the same finish twice, because we've already seen it before. So I had the idea that Maika counters the Stardust press by just hitting her with the running powerbomb instead. Mm-hmm. They teased it in the match itself when Suzu was up and Maika tried to hit the powerbomb, but Suzu countered then. So I thought that will happen and then she will win, but she used it differently. That was at least something. And it's a cool call back, and you just know, considering that Himeka on the tour show, she tried to stay out of the picture as much as possible. When Mina walked to her, she just sent her away and wanted her to work the match instead of her stealing the spotlight from them, which is totally fine, and I appreciate that. But it was cool to see that she just used the 5 minutes or so of her time, or 2 minutes of her time, in the backstage promo to just create a special moment, not only for Mike itself, but for Donna Del Mondo fans in general.
Yeah.
And Himeka fans.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think it's the feel-good ending that I think Stardom desperately needed for this year. I'll tag in Dylan here. Dylan, how are you?
I'm all right. I was tired.
Yeah, me too.
I went to bed at like 7:30 a.m. So that was great. Love that. Peps, I'm happy for you, and I'm happy for myself as well.
You said she's losing.
Yeah, I was convinced she was losing until she dropped her the third time. Like legitimately.
Even
after the second one, I was like, don't pick her back up. Don't pick her back up. She's gonna I was like legit to that point. Good morning, Swedish.
Absolute.
I'm sure you or Velk know it. She hit 2 against Shuri as well. I think she got counted by the third one against Shuri, and then she lost. I'm not sure. But she hit 1 against Shuri again, and then she got countered. But I don't know if it was 2 or just 1.
I think it was just 1, because Shuri kicked out.
Yeah, but after that, I think she tried to hit it again, or hit it again after the kicking. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I need to rewatch it. I forgot about it. Too many negative moments. But we are not anymore Hiroki Goto. We are now Sanada.
Yeah, that's real.
We're now Sanada.
I am in paradise watching Maika. Yeah, I mean, to talk about the main event, since that's where we're at. It was a great match. I liked it a lot, and it was it was a lot, right? Because Maika, it felt so, and I mean, like, you can hear me every week talk about that. It's like, it always felt like it was smart to put Maika over here. It always felt like that's what they should do. But I also was like, how much of this is like have they learned from the Mina stuff, where they kind of ran with Mina and then they did not know what to do, and it was very clear
after Mina got pinned. But I agree. That's exactly what I was.
Well, I think that
saying.
even made me even more like concerned, because I was like, have we seen history? Have we seen what happened to Momo Watanabe? You know, I mean, have we seen what happened to Mina Shirakawa? I was like, are they? And those two won belts. Like this was a more dire situation going into the night, where I was like, I don't know if she's gonna do it. And I don't know. Everybody knows I love the Michinoku driver, and I love how she protects it. I loved that finish. I love that she didn't go to pin her after the first one. She's like, "No, you're not kicking out of this. I refuse to allow you to kick out of this move." And I thought that was a beautiful little thing that she always is pretty specific about. She always makes sure to respect Taka's move, and I think that's great. And I loved it. I was very happy. I was like pumping my arms. I was getting super excited when the fall went down.
It was a moment that I think it's good you brought up Mina, because that was a big conversation point in the idea, if Maika won, would they learn from their mistakes? I don't see Maika having one defense and then losing the belt.
Yeah.
Now, did I jinx it? I don't think so. But
I
just
also
don't see
think
that.
like that, and that's kind of where I'm at with the Mina comparison, is that it's like, what part have they learned from their mistakes on? The part that I would like, or the part where it would, because like, oh, was the mistake giving Mina the belt in the first place because it threw them off of their direction?
Sure.
And Mina's still popular, and she's more popular than she was, a year and a half ago, or even just a year ago. But it's still, was the juice worth the squeeze type of thing with the Mina situation? I was worried about that, and now you kind of have to be like, well, have they learned from the mistake of just having her do nothing? I think they did, but I also think, as a wrestling fan who loves intrigue, this makes Maika's defenses pretty high stakes from the jump. Because it does look like it does. No, but I would say even Julia, because if Julia's staying,
why would the WWE wrestler win?
No, but if Julia's staying, what better way to be like, hey, if you stay,
give you the belt.
Remember that belt you lost in a couple months? Yeah, it's still here. We got it back from Tam. You could take it if you want. I mean, your young girl has it.
if she's staying, and that's just a big if, that they should, and they run Maika versus Julia, then they should announce it a week before. Just to create this, is Maika losing already? Which also creates a situation where not only we, the international fans, the Twitter users, get behind it, but also the crowd, because the crowd is not stupid, especially not Japanese crowds. If someone says, "Oh, she's re-signing," then instantly challenging for the belt, that's always like a good sign. Okay, she might win.
Yeah,
and also, which is the point earlier, we said it that Maika's like not a big star in terms of constantly defeating big girls in important matches. So her just defeating someone just means way more than anything, regardless who it is from Stardom. Because every red belt challenge is over her in the card right now.
I also think it's interesting to note that to this day, year long, only 3 people have pinned Maika, right? One of them was Julia, one of them was Suzu, and one of them was Momo. And that's like a pretty illustrious group of people to have, your only losses to. And she beat Suzu. So I think Julia
and she beat Momo.
And she beat Momo as well. Yeah, she beat Momo the other week. So yeah, the only vindicated loss this entire year, and it was a couple losses. It was in tag matches. It was in the 5-star. It was, it was a couple losses, is against Julia. So I think they're probably running that Julia match soon. Like, I think that's probably the first match they run. I do also want to draw attention to the schedule, the pay-per-view schedule, which they released after the show, as they usually do. Before Buntai, there's only 2 opportunities for a world title match. So that's an interesting kind of thought, is like, if Maika were to lose at Buntai, God forbid, I agree with Peps. I think she should hold it past Fukuoka. I think that's a huge, if you can get if you can get
would
Hazuki versus Fukuoka,
yes,
Hazuki
yes,
versus Maika and
yes.
Fukuoka, that's the
That's
match.
what I want.
They've
Yes.
never run it before. They're both hometown girls. You know, they're very popular. I think that's the match for Fukuoka, but that's just me. And you know, as a Hazuki diehard, Hazuki losing red belt matches doesn't matter. What matters is her with the white belt. Like the white belt is what matters to Hazuki. She just finds herself in red belt matches. Like that's kind of the way that they run it. So like her losing to Maika in, you know, in Fukuoka, I think that's cool. But yeah, I mean, there's only a handful of defenses that are possible this year. So I think that's the interesting part for me is like, okay, she has the first pay-per-view, the February pay-per-view, she has Cinderella final, maybe, and she has Buntai, and then she has Fukuoka. Those are like the 4 title defenses I think she should get through. But, you know, that's already, you know, 5-6 months into the year. So it is interesting to see how long she might hold this belt.
Especially considering they pretty much, I'm not sure how backstage thing works, but we pretty much have heard that both Suzu and kind of Kamitani were scheduled to win the red belts. Of course, they definitely promised them that, and we have seen what happened last time when they promised someone a white belt reign.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, pretty much. I hope Aphrodite gets a good tag run. I don't really want either of them heavily into the mix with the world titles right now, but that's me.
I think maybe the best case for Maika is try to map it out of my head. A Julia win. I don't know if they'll do 2 matches before Buntai. They should.
I think the important one is to defeat Tam, because Tam is the former champion. So you need to defeat the former champion.
I could see them do Tam for Buntai, actually.
Yes.
Oh man, that's gonna make me scared.
It's all about one. It's all about selling tickets, and we know Tam's popularity. And 2,
it's for me. It's between Tam and Buntai, or they run back Suzu, which I don't want again anytime soon.
No, I'd hold off on that. I think Julia, Tam, Hazuki, and then after that, you can kind of have some freedom with who maybe someone that may actually win the belt, or
I could see Suzu winning it in the summer.
Yeah, I could too. I could absolutely see that too. Again, it depends on who they're going with now, right? Because, like you said, at one point, Saya was supposed to be in this match. At one point, Suzu was probably supposed to be going into Dream Queendom as champion, and now we just have Maika as champion. So it's like lots of plans have changed. I don't know what the plans are.
The question is, would you guys think they would have still done the title switch if Suzu was champion coming into Dream Queendom?
Yeah, exactly. I don't think they would have done that.
No, it would have been a way harder sell for me. And I talked to you about that, or I didn't talk to you. I retweeted you, and I quote retweeted you, Peps, about how it's like Maika really got the perfect storm here, of like realistically getting the belt here, because
it's everything went right.
Yeah, it's terrible to say because a lot of injuries played into it, and also Tam, but I think that it's like one of those things where it's like, okay, if Suzu did have the belt, if Suzu won the belt from Tam, this is Suzu's stepping stone, right? And that is always the fear. Yeah. And that's more the fear. I think people always bring up the jungle thing. I think more so than just jungle, it's that being good enough to be the stepping stone for these top stars. That's where Maika was floating towards. And if Suzu had already won the belt, I'm not sure that she would have escaped being that stepping stone, right?
Yep.
No, she would have been pressed right into it, because then as V1, you could have, it's over. Totally different situation than losing a belt to like when the belt is vacant. Yeah. So everything went right for her, and I don't even think she knows how she got here.
We're gonna do about folks that are still watching. Thank you. We're going to do about like 10, 15 more minutes, but I'm going to have 6 Star join us because I was requested that to get in here. So feel free to share your thoughts about Maika winning. You do not say anything about Natsupoi. She did not wrestle on the show.
I have been I've been very open about, and I'm starting this with Suzu Suzuki winning the Grand Prix real quick. And I've been very open about the fact that it's really unfortunate that she had to win the way she did. And I think that it's truly a great thing for her and her inevitable World of Stardom title reign that she did not win today. I think it's actually going to be not just for the better of Maika in the long run, not just for the better of Suzu Suzuki in the long run, but for the better of the company. But I'm not here to talk about the weird, questionable, difficult booking that had to be made. I'm here to talk about Maika winning the red belt. This is what I like to call premium grabs. This is what I like to call the feeling being back. This is what I like to call the greatest promotion in the history of God's green earth. This is what I like to call real wrestling. This is what I like to call my kind of grabs. I named myself 6 Star for a reason, and I've been through multiple different phases of 6 Star. I've been through multiple phases of 6 Star, some that I'm not proud of, and sometimes I have felt a chill in my bones, worried about the future of this promotion that I love, this promotion that I give myself to every single day, every single week, every single year. However, and I mean capital comma, yeah, baby. This is how you do storytelling. This is how you do wrestling. This is how you build a star. Okay?
I love this motherfucker.
Maika died for our sins. Maika died for our sins and brought in Maika Red Belt, baby.
Oh man, if I ever become a wrestler, you are my manager. I hope you are. I am calling you.
Listen, Mike, I put my stocks in the Maika Red Belt, and not because I didn't believe in Suzu Suzuki, not because I didn't want to see Suzu Suzuki win, but because this was her time, this was her calling, and unlike other instances that have been fumbled in the past, I truly do believe that Rossy Ogawa can capitalize on Maika. I believe it. My opinions on Mina Shirakawa are not shy to anyone. I like Mina Shirakawa. However, I wasn't the biggest fan of the idea of her winning the white belt, but I was happy for her, and her reign got fumbled, and that's not her fault. This is Rossy Ogawa's time to show us true Stardom cells, what we want, what we believe in. It's Maika time, baby. Pep said it first, and we'll say it again, and we're here to say it till the end of the day, till the end of the night, and it's the end of the year, and Maika's the red belt champion. What do you know about that? You know what I know about that? It's my screensaver on my phone right now.
That's real.
Okay.
This is wrestling. We're back. I tweeted on my private account the other day that 12/29 through 1/4 was crucial to my enjoyment of professional wrestling in the year of our Lord 2023, and here we are. Maika Red Belt. We're back.
So I don't know how to follow that. So my
do you want
best
to come on
guess.
Stardom Quest? Because this is the chaos we need.
I don't think Alex would be able to handle it.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, I think
Many pronouns. There's too many pronouns there between Alex and I. You know.
Oh my god. Okay. All right. This is my pivot. Dave Meltzer reports in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. Besides the new deal working with All Japan, WWE has also expressed interest in working with Stardom. Nothing is finalized, but WWE is confirmed interested. So, quickly, on that, how are we feeling?
I'm feeling way more positive than most people.
You excited for Roxanne Perez?
Yeah, actually. No, because I'm never going to watch NXT, quite frankly, but I keep being told that there are a lot of great workers there. So if we could lure some of them away, you know what I mean? If we could just maybe they'll taste some, yakiniku, and they'll be like, hey, I want to stay. Like that's what we're looking for here. But no, I think that's ultimately I always bring up that like Toni Storm was a WWE champion, and during her run in Stardom, like during her second run, it wasn't good. She didn't have a good run. The second one was not good, but
Like
she
her
was a
current run now.
champion.
Sorry,
Yeah,
continue.
exactly. But she had the belt in Stardom, so it's like if it's something like that where it's like, oh, this NXT level up girl who's had 10 matches on TV is gonna be sent to Stardom to kind of just do some shit because she's a genetic freak. She's an athlete, you know, like these athletes could these like. But have you seen what they're pumping out of that PC?
No, I understand.
There are
I
some
understand.
psychos.
I just didn't expect the
Hey,
genetic
listen.
freak thing.
Hey, listen. Rossi Ogawa is a drone, and that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. My opinions on the WWE, the World Wrestling Federation, are known. Okay. However, hey yo, I would love to see what Lash Legend can do with the Stardom system for a little bit. I would just love to see it, me personally. That's just me though. That's just me though. That's just me though.
What does Seriana know about Metaphor? That's my question. You know what I mean?
Oh my god! All right, we're going off the WWE topic.
No! Wait! I mean, can you imagine a Chikara Jackson entrance with Stardom production,
Bro?
Doing the Mina dance. Big Joey's Club Venus.
All I'm saying, hey, listen, I know she's not.
Ever for Stardom.
All of NXT joins Club Venus.
I'm just saying, Big Tiff in Stardom. I would love to see it. I would love to see it. I may not like the WWE, but I love women's wrestling. So whatever's best for them.
This is a regret. I did not mean to bring up WWE. We're going back. All right, I'm wrapping this show up with one thing after this, but final thoughts. We're gonna go in order because I had a promo by 6 Star to just absolutely riled my cage. So I'm like, all right, great promo by the way. I didn't know I
it was incredible.
I was in shock the whole time. It was. I think that's why the people show up for the 6 Star promo that they didn't know about. All right, so answer these 2 questions for me. One, how overall like rating of the show? Did it help you get excited for Stardom moving forward? And then 2, what are your feelings ultimately heading into 2024? Because 2024, with all the news from today, with all the championship title reigns, it's going to be a big year one way or the other, especially after the past couple months. So, Peps, I'll let you go first.
I mean, I wouldn't say the feeling is restored, or whatever the saying is in the AW.
I would pay money to never hear that saying again.
Because
right, MJF?
We have 2 shows upcoming that already scream to be just not good.
Hey, whoa. Big Mayu match guarantees good, but okay, pal.
Yeah.
Mayu Shuri too?
That's a cool one, but the other 6 below that is
hey.
But I think we are on the right direction. In terms of just the champions feel all fresh. We have interesting stories coming into the next year. We have interesting champions interesting news that could develop into bad news, to be honest, but who knows with Julia and WWE. Oh. And the most important part, of course, is that we have finally a good World of Stardom champion, the first one in a while. So I'm excited. I can't wait to of course cover it all.
First one in a year. You could have just said a year.
Yeah, I mean Julia wasn't exactly a good
love Julia Erasure.
Julia should have been a great champion.
Yeah,
she was not.
We have all the tools to have a good 2024. The schedule looks good, so it's just time for Rossi to deliver, I guess.
Yep, the big Ross, man. It's all on you, buddy. All right, Dylan.
And he will do it with Aphrodite versus 7-Up in Osaka.
Yes! We ride!
We ride, baby!
Pretty sick match, so that's okay.
Yeah, if you guys want to hear 7-Up propaganda, listen to Stardom Quest, because there's going to be plenty of it. Not from Alex, he's very upset. But from me, there will be. But no, the show, I think, I'm lower on it than a lot of people because I think it had like a very specific flaw, and that flaw is that it was a lot of rematches. even Aphrodite versus XL was a rematch of a better, bigger match. Obviously, it wasn't the exact rematch; it was the cage match, but that was the best match of the year. So them kind of like continuing that story, I liked it, and it was a great match, but it was a rematch. And then the next two were also rematches, and the main event was a rematch. I think that kind of took away a little bit from it because it's like a lot of it was like, okay, what can you do different right now? And
Make Mike the champion, mother. Oh,
yeah, that's the big thing, right? And that's why I think the main event worked for me is because it was different. You didn't swim in the same river twice. You know what I mean? I think that's what failed with the white belt. You know what I mean? Like I think that's what failed with the Mirai Soriano match. Yeah, but I think that it still was way too much of the same that I've seen, and not a progression of it. So I think that's where I kind of was struggling with the show. I thought the show was really fun watch all the way through though. As for going into 2024, the biggest issue remains the schedule, and not even just the overpacked schedule, but the way that they utilize their schedule. I've talked about a million times. There should be goddess title matches, high speed title matches, artist style matches on Korakuens. Especially with them only running a pay-per-view a month, even less than during tournament seasons, right? Like you need to kind of be getting these title matches onto smaller cards. And not to bring up New Japan, but that's what Tanahashi was talking about with New Japan, is that it's like, why aren't we running more like just highlight title matches just randomly in like smaller smaller places? They'll want to see that more.
Not like a bad thing, especially with the artist belt where you just can't throw together units. Like you can have Queen's Quest B team challenging, and the next one you can have Queen's Quest A team challenging, or just switch out one member, and you have a totally different story.
Man, a few months down the line, give me an all rookies challenge for the artist belts. Give me Rana and Sayaka and Hanako just challenging. Like they can lose in 10 minutes, but get them something. Like you could do these things because the artist belts are not that protected. They're not that important, quite frankly. You can kind of experiment with them. Go ahead.
Remember when Mikey Maypoi faced Rina Ruaka and Starlight Kid on a Hurricane main event?
That was tremendous. That was a great match. That was one of my favorite Away Time matches of that period. Like legitimately. But yeah, I mean, I think that's ultimately the big thing, is just like how they utilize their schedule more so than any one thing. I think Maika being champion is sick. I'm interested in an Ano reign, right? I think that she has a lot of unique matches. She hasn't had a lot of singles matches outside of the 5-star. Anybody from that red block is a fresh match pretty much. And obviously, Azumi Army, Die Hard. I'm excited to see them kind of reunite that. No, that's going to be Azumi right there. I don't know if you know about that. Those are veterans. Those are veterans. You'll know about that. No. I think there's a lot. I have nothing else to say. I delegate my time.
All right,
I'm excited, but I'm cautious.
All right, 6-star. Hit us with your thoughts.
So I obviously came in all guns a-blazing earlier, but to give the people, an off the cuff, a shoot from the hip, if you will. I do think there's a lot for Stardom to still do this year to truly restore the faith of restore the faith of us regulars. I mean, obviously their main concern is not necessarily the fans in the West, but there's obviously been a decline in interest in Stardom around in the fan base. But I think that they have the potential and the strength to rectify that, and I think that is hopefully what Rossy Ogawa's focus is in this coming year. And I think that this show was a notable step up from pay-per-views I've seen and shows I've seen from Stardom in the last few months that have coincided with my dwindling interest, not just in the product, but in wrestling as a whole, because when Stardom is hot, my wrestling fandom is hot. I
know a big ending's coming here. Continue. Sorry. I know this,
and I do
all riled up. I can feel it.
I think the show was good for what it was. Obviously, with the notable injuries that have been had, it's not the show that it could have been, that it should have been. I agree with Dylan's points about there being too many rematches. I think that especially the Saori and Mirai match was just heartbreaking for me, and for my wallet. Rest in peace, my bank account. However, I have hope. We have really good champions right now. the stories to me seem like they're entering a really strong gear for the new year. You know, Peps was a bit spiteful earlier about the shows coming in the next few days and weeks, and you know, fair enough. But I'm excited for Big Match Mayu, and
you goddamn right.
I'm excited to see what this year brings us, and Natsupoi, you know, Natsupoi white belt is on the horizon, and I was told I couldn't talk about Natsupoi, so I'm going to say my closing thoughts.
You can now.
And that is that Natsupoi white belt is on the horizon. I was in this stream a year ago to the day talking about Natsupoi winning the Cinderella. I don't want to say that. I ain't saying anything about anyone winning the Cinderella. I don't know who's winning the Cinderella. That's all. But what I do know is Natsupoi is winning this goddamn white belt, and I have been campaigning for this for the last 1.5 to 2 years. And I'm finally getting my due title reign that I put so much work for. This right here, baby. This is what it's all about. This is what it's all about. You want to talk about Stardom? I don't want to talk about what Stardom has been or could have been. I'm talking about what Stardom could be and will be. And this is Natsupoi's fucking freaking promotion. My fault. It's time to fly the Fairies Road, baby. So strap up. 2024 is going to be the year. 2024 is the year of Big Poi. So
Big Poi in the building.
What's the Cinderella? I don't even know. I don't know. It sounds like something Natsupoi might be winning this year, but that's just how I.
Whoa! Not too much. What if Azumi wins it?
Hey, why you gotta say it like that?
You're gonna get a Mirai three-peat if you guys keep doing this.
I was
chill out.
Whoa! Not too much now.
It would be really funny if all this talking and Mirai just ends with either the white or red belt.
It would be the funniest possible outcome if Mirai won. Like that's what I thought immediately after she lost. I was like, what if she wins the Cinderella again? That's my goal right there.
All right. Time for me to wrap up the show.
Yeah.
If you have been following the Joshi Awards, drop tomorrow. You can make your votes. I have all of the awards filled out now that all the big matches are over. I am here to happily announce the Wrestler of the Year nominees as we head into tomorrow when I will drop the ballots. Actually, I could probably just drop it today, truthfully, if I felt like it. We'll see.
Do you feel like it?
Not really. I'm pretty tired. But our Wrestler of the Year nominees are as followed. From TJPW, we have Rika Tatsumi. From TJPW, we have Mizuki. Freelancer, Saori Ano, the new Wonder of Stardom champion. Stardom's Suzu Suzuki. Freelancer, Sari, and Stardom's Maika. So have fun voting, everybody. That will be dropping.
I just want to throw in, you need to respect the Sukiban deal.
What?
How much
that's a money laundering promotion. That is a money laundering promotion.
Hey, that's an accusation. Those are accusations. Allegedly.
Anyway. People want the 6-star dance while the graphics up. That was a big pop for everybody. But ultimately, yes, I will be tweeting that out tomorrow. I'll be sharing it to all the Discords. I'll be making sure that we have more requests for 6-star. They just want 6-star. We want the promos. Well, if Poi wins, just like I got Peps on here immediately, I think I'll just open the show with the 6-star promo. I just want to speak. But yes, make sure you vote for the Joshi Awards. The following awards are, once again, we have Rookie of the Year featuring every rookie except for one that Dylan got mad at me about or something.
It was a joke.
Yeah,
I've seen one Hisoka match this year.
Yeah. International Wrestler of the Year. Have fun with that after the Megan Bain performance. Breakout Star of the Year, the Joshi Indies MVP, the TJPW MVP, the Stardom MVP, the Joshi Indie Promotion of the Year, Show of the Year, Feud of the Year, Story of the Year, which I think might have been answered today, but we will see who gets the win today. And then we have Tag Team of the Year, Match of the Year, and Wrestler of the Year. So should be a lot of fun to see how those break down. I'm sure everyone that's in this podcast will be voting. So I look forward to that. If you want to check out my article on May Sarah, you can now over on voicesofwrestling.com. I talked about why she was such a spark for Stardom in 2023, in a year that they very much needed her on those house shows. 6 Star, I see you hitting the poise like crazy. Peps, where can people find you?
I'm sure people here know my Twitter at peps_wrestling. I write for Wrestle Purist, where I cover Stardom and other Joshi promotions with the Joshi Guide and write the results. And then, of course, I have a podcast on the 5 Star Network, Proto Gems, where, for example, Dylan or Scott were the guests in the past, where I cover all kinds of smaller indie pro Joshi promotions in Japan.
You say in
including,
need? I thought you said in need.
Indeed.
Like they need help.
Indeed. No.
Well,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's not bad.
Well, yeah, smaller promotions, it's always a ton of fun, and people always find new stuff to watch there.
Absolutely. And especially with this upcoming week, it's a good time to go check out Puro Gems. A lot of great wrestling coming up, especially with All Japan's year-end show. Dylan, I know I think everyone knows by now, but go ahead.
I like talking about myself anyway. Yeah, I'll be on Puro Gems. Pep's got me watching Glate and Oz Academy. This motherfucker's crazy. Like, I don't know how we got here, but this is what we do, I guess. No, you can find me on Twitter at xxichiban because my favorite number is 21, and I am number 1. Shouts out to Suzu Goon. And yeah, listen to Stardom Quest every week. It is a podcast about Stardom, so if you listen to this, I'm sure you'll love it. Unless you find me deeply annoying, then you'll hate it. And yeah, I also do No Limit Wrestling Show with my boy Xavi. On YouTube, we do like kind of retro reviews. Me and Scott and Xavi did a draft most recently. We're gonna get some more people.
I drafted Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe of the 2000s. I thought I won. Just saying.
You won by like a landslide. Nobody understands Yoshihiro Takayama. They don't know ball. That's all I'm saying. But
have you seen Kurt Angle in the 2000s?
Yeah, I know. But I do a No Limit Wrestling show around YouTube on the 5 Star Network YouTube channel, and I don't write right now. I should probably start doing that again, sometimes at some point. I don't know. I'll figure something out. If you want me to write for you, get at me.
There we go. That's how you do it. And 6 Star.
Real quick disclaimer: anything I said about American Joshi wrestling promotion, Sukeban, was a joke, and it was a parody, and falls under copyright laws. So free speech.
It was for the Twitter bit. I got you.
For the Twitter bit. It was for the Twitter bit.
Yep.
Teach bad. Anyways, that's not what this is about. You can find me at 6 Stardom on Twitter and occasionally on the 5 Star Joshi Show, very occasionally. And yeah, subscribe.
After today's request, I think you have to be back a lot sooner. Just for the promos.
This is when I make end of the year. End of the year is when I make the towns. You know, last year I was on like 3 shows at this time of year, so who knows?
Yeah, you're right. You are absolutely right. Well, thank you everybody for listening. This went 43 minutes longer than I wanted, so I appreciate all the guests today. Had a lot of great guests. Thank you to Velke for coming on earlier. Thank you to really everyone who made this a lot of fun for me. Thank you to String 6 Splash. Go check out Red Belt Radio on YouTube if you want to hear what I believe Velke said was a wonderful voice to listen to.
It was a beautiful voice.
Yes. Make sure to check out everyone on this show. I appreciate everyone coming on. We're ending the year with Maika as the World of Stardom champion. Stardom has a new direction once again. Make sure to follow me at Scott E Wrestling on Twitter/X. If you don't and you're listening to this episode, that's kind of crazy. Thank you for finding me if that's the case. And otherwise, my year-end stuff's mostly done. So it was a lot of fun. Be back next week. I got a lot of recordings to do. God damn it. Anyways, I'm gonna get off now. For everyone here, so long. See ya. Bye-bye.
Later.
Bye-bye.